Chapter 893. An abnormally ferocious aura appeared, causing Lin Xian to feel even more pain. Above his spirit sea, the small glazed sword seemed to feel the provocation of this aura and began to tremble slightly. Light flowed on the sword, forming a huge devouring power that seemed to be able to swallow everything. It quickly enveloped the small black cauldron. In the next moment, the ferocious aura was swallowed up. The small black cauldron let out a buzzing sound as if it was frightened. It turned into a black light and rushed out of Lin Xian's body, wanting to leave this place. However, the small glazed sword would not give it the chance. Since it had been activated, there was no reason to stop. A huge devouring power instantly enveloped the small black cauldron and pulled it back. The small black cauldron was pulled back at an even faster speed and crashed into the small glazed sword. However, there was no earth-shattering collision. Instead, it seemed to have disappeared without a trace. At the same time, a huge black cauldron appeared in the space inside the mysterious small sword and crashed to the ground. As soon as it landed, the small black cauldron struggled with all its might as if it wanted to rush out. However, there seemed to be a mysterious power that confined it, preventing it from moving. Moreover, the entire space emitted a desolate aura that completely intimidated it. As the small black cauldron melted into the mysterious small sword, the ferocious aura in Lin Xian's body completely disappeared. His spiritual power was like a vast ocean, instantly recovering and filling every part of his body. A familiar and powerful power returned to his body once again. Success! Lin Xian was excited. Thinking about the scene just now, he still had lingering fears. Fortunately, the small glazed sword was extremely mysterious and could suppress earth-rank treasures. At the same time, this aroused his curiosity. What exactly was that small glazed sword? How could it be so powerful? A complete earth-rank treasure would not even have the slightest chance of resisting in front of it. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He swore that one day he would uncover the secret of this mysterious small sword. With a thought, his spiritual power entered the space inside the small sword. Then he found the 10,000 beast not far in front of him. This terrifying demonic cauldron had now returned to its original form. It was 2 meters tall and carved with all kinds of precious beasts that were vivid and lifelike. Unlike its violent and ferocious state from before, the tiny black cauldron was extremely quiet at this moment, and it seemed as if it had fallen into deep slumber once more. Looking at the complete earth-rank treasured artifact, Lin Xian's eyes once again revealed a wisp of burning desire. He needed to quickly raise his cultivation base in order to be able to control this earth-step treasure. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian looked around again. The space inside the mysterious sword was very strange. In his current state, he could only walk 1 or 2 meters. He clearly remembered that Lord Alcohol had charged into the depths of this space after recovering a portion of his strength. Therefore, the depths of this space was one of the places he had to go in the future. Of course, the prerequisite for all of this was to have great strength. This was also what Lin Xian was currently pursuing, and what he desired the most. The next moment, he exited the space and opened his eyes. "You're awake!" Dongfang Fenghuang exclaimed when she saw the demonic patterns on Lin Xian's body disappear. What happened? Why is it only you? Where are the others? Soon, Dongfang Fenghuang told him what had happened. Lin Xian's face darkened when he heard that. That damned Shao Li was still chasing after him. Did he really think that he could kill him so easily? This time, no matter what price he had to pay, he had to summon the great dragon sword soul and kill Shao Li. Let's go back and support them. Lin Xian stood up and controlled the golden-feathered divine eagle to fly back. The golden-feathered divine eagle screeched and quickly turned around. It transformed into a golden stream of light and flew back the way it had come. Just as Lin Xian was rushing back with all his might, Bing Ling and the others were engaged in an extremely intense battle with Shao Li. Xiao Li waved the black flag, and 3 flood dragons circled around him, releasing a powerful aura. On the other side, Bing Ling and the others were pale and covered in injuries. They had no choice. The other party was really too powerful. Even if the 3 of them joined forces, they could only fight to a draw. This was already very impressive. If it had been any other third-rank honorable, they would not have been able to withstand even one move. You are indeed the geniuses of Senmu College. You can actually withstand so many moves. Xiao Li held the black flag in his hand, and a look of mockery appeared in his eyes. I wonder how long you can last under such circumstances. Humph, we can't defeat you, but you can forget about capturing us, Bing Ling said coldly. She sat on the ice, throned like a queen. You don't know what's good for you. Since you want to die, I'll send you on your way. In the next moment, Xiao Li's eyes focused, and the aura on his body exploded again. It swept across the sky like a violent storm. A low roar was heard, and a powerful figure condensed behind him. It was a giant purple python. Its body was covered in eerie scales, and it exuded a terrifying aura. This giant purple python was Xiao Li's martial soul. After summoning his martial soul, Xiao Li's strength surged again. He sneered and quickly attacked. He waved his arm, and a giant purple python rushed out. It was like a long purple river that stretched across the sky. This punch was infused with the power of his martial soul. It was extremely powerful and could suppress everything. I'll fight you to the death. Yang Lin roared and waved his martial soul, the yellow mountain peak, in front of him. Bang! A terrifying sound was heard, and it shook the 9 heavens. The 2 collided, and there was a dazzling explosion. In the next moment, Yang Lin's face changed. He felt that the power was like a vast ocean. It was vast, and it felt like it was going to tear his martial soul apart. In an instant, he could not hold on. Fortunately, Bing Ling and Yi Yan attacked at the same time. The blue ice throne flashed and formed an illusory blue figure that flew forward. At the same time, the purple evil eye in front of Yi Yan also emitted a purple spiral light which flew out. Boom! The 3 of them attacked with all their might, and they quickly resisted Xiao Li's martial soul. Humph, open up! Xiao Li sneered with disdain. In the next moment, the giant purple python roared. Its huge tail was like a heavenly knife, and it whipped Bing Ling and the other 2 away. Bing Ling and the other 2 spat out mouthfuls of blood and flew a few hundred feet before they could stop. Then their faces turned pale. A sense of helplessness rose in their hearts. The opponent was too strong, and he had a top spiritual treasure in his hand. The 3 of us were no match for him. Yi Yan said, After such a long time, I think Lin Xian must have gone far. How about this? The 2 of you go, and I'll stop him for a while. Yan Lin gritted his teeth. No, we have to go together. No one can stay behind. Bing Ling quickly shook her head. If the 3 of them fought alone, none of them would be a match for Xiao Li. If they stayed behind, they would be courting death. Even if we all stay, we can't defeat him. It's better to let one of us go. Stop talking. Let's attack together. Humph, you still want to fight? Go to hell. Xiao Li sneered. He stepped on the giant purple python and rushed forward. Chapter 894. With a wave of his hand, the purple snake opened its mouth and spat out 365 rays of purple light. Each ray was like a sword chi, and they quickly covered the entire sky. This was the power of a level 4 honorable realm. Compared to a level 3 honorable realm, there was a world of difference. Each ray of purple light in the sky could easily kill a level 3 honorable realm. When 365 rays of purple light appeared at the same time, their power was unimaginable. In an instant, the purple light engulfed Bing Bing and the others. Boom! Bing Ling and the other 2 tried their best to resist, but they were still sent flying. Blood splattered in the sky as the three of them tried their best to resist and roared in anger. Bing Ling's face was cold, and a red light appeared in her eyes. In the next moment, a red light rushed out from her body like a sun, and it quickly disappeared. Then a powerful force exploded from her body. At this moment, she was sitting on the frozen throne with the icy spring staff in her hand. She was extremely cold. Not only that, an icy crown appeared on her forehead, containing a terrifying force. Bloodline power. I didn't expect you to have such a technique. Xiao Li was surprised, and then he showed a mocking expression. Fine, I'll play with you again. He shouted coldly and waved his arm again. 365 rays of purple light intertwined in the sky like a purple net, and they pressed down mercilessly. Ice bloodline, freeze thousands of miles. Bing Ling sat on the frozen throne like an ice queen. In the next moment, endless cold air exploded from her body and swept across the sky, freezing everything around her. Crack, crack, crack. The sky, earth, trees, mountains, and rivers were all frozen into ice. The 365 rays of purple light in the sky were also covered with a thick layer of frost. It's frozen. Yi Yan was excited. In the next moment, the frost in the sky quickly cracked, and the purple light released endless rays of light, and a sharp aura spread out in all directions. You're strong, but you're still no match for me. If you still have any tricks up your sleeves, use them now. Otherwise, die. Watch my martial soul fusion. Yi Yan roared from behind and quickly merged with the evil purple eye. A ball of light exploded, and the evil purple eye flickered and quickly merged with his glabella, forming 3 vertical eyes. They were like the eyes of a demon god, and they emitted dazzling light. Bang! A faint purple light shot out from the evil purple eye. It contained a terrifying and strange aura as it streaked across the void. Pung! The faint purple light seemed very weak, but it easily tore the void apart and erupted with a powerful force. That force even surpassed that of a 3rd heaven venerate. Thousand Snakes transformation. Purple sun illuminates the sky. On the other side, Xiao Li also let out a cold shout and waved his hand. Immediately, 365 rays of purple light rapidly condensed in the sky, forming a round ball that hung in the air like a purple sun. The purple sun rotated and flew downwards, colliding with the faint purple light. Rumble! The 2 of them collided, and a violent shockwave spread out for thousands of miles. The terrifying collision caused dozens of mountains in the surroundings to be reduced to dust. The earth cracked open and extended into the distance. In the end, the 2 balls of purple light were smashed apart and turned into streams of light that dissipated into the air. However, Yi Yan let out a miserable shriek. Blood flowed out from the vertical purple evil eye between his brows. It was a ghastly sight. Are you all right? Yang Lin supported Yi Yan from the side, his expression full of worry. F***CK, let's fight it out with him. He finally couldn't take it anymore. With a roar, he rushed back with the yellow mountain in his hand. Bing Ling's expression changed drastically. She wanted to stop him, but it was too late. In the next moment, Yang Lin also spat out blood and flew back, smashing a terrifying deep hole in the ground. A bunch of ants. I've played enough. Go to hell. Xiao Li laughed maliciously. He stepped on the purple python and flew towards Bing Ling and the other 2. With a wave of his hand, he sent the 3 of them flying again. Bing Ling and the other 2 spat out blood, dyeing their clothes red. I won't kill you all at once. I'll torture you to death bit by bit. Looking at Bing Ling and the other 2 on the ground, Xiao Li's eyes turned cold. He then clenched his fist, and the purple python under his feet quickly transformed into a long purple whip. The long whip danced and whipped Bing Ling, leaving a bloody mark on her body. Soon, Yang Lin and Yi Yan were hit a few times. What Senmu College? What peerless genius! Aren't you all in the palm of my hand? Xiao Li held the purple whip in his hand and laughed loudly. His expression was full of arrogance. This is what you get for covering up for that kid. Then, Xiao Li stopped laughing and stared at Bingling. A strange light flashed in his eyes. Not bad, not bad. You're quite pretty, and your figure is even better. I wonder what you'll look like later. He smiled evilly and walked towards Bingling. He waved the long whip in his hand and whipped Bingling. Her clothes were torn apart, revealing her snow-white skin. Bingling gritted her teeth and stared at him coldly. Her eyes were about to spit fire. I'll kill you! Seeing this, Yanglin roared. Ignoring his injuries, he quickly got up and charged toward Xiao Li. Humph! Trash! Xiao Li sneered disdainfully and kicked Yanglin to the ground. Then he stared at Bingling again and walked over slowly. He raised his arm, and the purple whip shone brightly again. If this whip hit, it would tear Bingling's clothes apart. In the next moment, Xiao Li sneered and waved the long whip. Bingling's eyes were unusually cold. She bit her lips tightly, and a trace of blood flowed down her chin. She had started to burn her blood force and was ready to fight with her life. Seeing the purple whip falling quickly, Bingling's eyes were filled with determination. She was going to fight with her life. At this moment, a sword radiance flashed across the void and hit the purple whip, sending it flying. What? Bingling was stunned. Her beautiful eyes were filled with disbelief. It was as if someone had pulled her up when she was drowning. That feeling restored her hope of survival. Yanglin and Yi Yan exclaimed and heaved a sigh of relief at the same time. Fortunately, she was sent flying. Otherwise, they could not imagine what would have happened. Xiao Li's face was gloomy, and a murderous look appeared in his eyes. He was having fun, and he did not expect that someone would dare to stop him at this moment. That person must have a death wish. No matter who it was, they would die a horrible death if they dared to stop him. In the next moment, he looked around for the person who had attacked. Then he stared at a place and was stunned. Then a cold smile appeared on his face. Brat, it's you. How dare you come back? Xiao Li did not expect that the person who had attacked was Lin Xian. Lin Xian was the target that he had spent so much effort to find. Now that he was standing in front of him, alive and well, it felt great. Looks like I'm in luck. Even the heavens are helping me. He smiled maliciously. As long as he could capture Lin Xian and get the crystal skull, he would be able to report back and not be punished by the palace of gods of war. Lin Xian's expression was cold. He ignored Xiao Li and turned around to look. When he saw the injuries on Bingling and the other two, his face twisted. Chapter 895. Dongfang Fenghuang cried out and quickly flew to the three of them. She took out a piece of clothing and covered Bingling with it. Then she took out some pills and fed them. Lin Xian came to Bingling and the other two and said in a low voice, I've implicated you this time. Bingling and the others swallowed the pills and recovered a little. Junior brother Lin, you shouldn't have come back. Hurry up and leave. Bingling shook her head and sighed. Humph, what an idiot. You came here to die. Behind them, Xiao Li sneered. If that's the case, I don't mind taking your life. What's there to be arrogant about? Dongfang Fenghuang snorted and gritted her teeth. With the five of us working together, I don't believe we can't beat him. No, I'll do it myself. Lin Xian said in a low voice. Dongfang, take senior sister Bingling and the others and leave this place first. You want to do it yourself? Stop fooling around. He's a 4th level honored warrior. Dongfang Fenghuang said anxiously. Bingling frowned. Junior brother Lin, now's not the time to be impulsive. Let's work together and leave this place. Don't worry, I won't do something that will cost my life. This time it's because of me that everyone was seriously injured. I'll avenge everyone. Dongfang, take the others and leave quickly. Seeing Lin Xian's insistence, Dongfang Fenghuang kept shaking her head. Finally, she gritted her teeth. All right, I'll take them to a safe place to watch the battle. If the situation doesn't look good, we'll take action immediately. Then we'll work together and leave together. Okay. Lin Xian nodded. Ayaya, what a close relationship. How touching. Xiao, Li sneered disdainfully. Have you decided? Who's going to die first? Humph, I'll deal with you alone. Seeing that Dongfang Fenghuang had retreated to a safe place with Bing Ling and the others, Lin Xian turned around. You alone? You're overestimating yourself. Xiao Li sneered and ignored Dongfang Fenghuang and the others. As long as he captured Lin Xian, he could take care of the others. Brat, I have to say that you are very stupid. You knew that I was here to capture you, yet you still dared to come out. Hand over the crystal skeleton, and I can give you a quick death. Xiao Li didn't take Lin Xian seriously at all. Of all the things you shouldn't have done, you shouldn't have hurt my companion. Since you've done it, you should atone for your sins with your death. Lin Xian's expression was incomparably cold, as if he was the god of death. His body emitted a monstrous killing intent. This time he was truly enraged. He reached out and pulled out the black package on his back, then slowly opened it. Humph, no matter what you do, you won't be able to escape death today. Xiao Li wasn't in a hurry to make a move. Instead, he had an expression of watching a show. That expression was like a cat playing with a mouse. He wanted to see what the other party was relying on to be so arrogant. Soon, Lin Xian opened the black bag and held the Lone Star sword in his hand. Clang! The long sword was unsheathed, bringing with it a blue light. It was like the sea of stars, incomparably deep. The moment the sword aura was unsheathed, the entire space became cold, as if countless sword auras had streaked across. Feeling this aura, Xiao Li's face also darkened. His eyes flickered as he stared at the treasure sword in Lin Xian's hand. His breathing gradually became heavier. This aura, that's right, a half Earth-rank treasure. Ha ha ha. Xiao Li looked up to the sky and laughed, his voice filled with excitement. A half Earth-rank treasure. It's actually a half Earth-rank treasure. Looks like my luck is really too good. He really didn't expect to encounter a half Earth-rank treasure here. Moreover, this treasure was in the hands of a second-level honorable. This was simply giving him a treasure. Kid, I really have to thank you for giving me such a precious treasure. I have to say, you're really a child of fortune. I'll accept this half Earth-rank treasure. Xiao Li's expression was arrogant, and his face was filled with pride as if the Lone Star sword was already his. Lin Xian didn't have any expression. He was incomparably cold, and his body was filled with killing intent. Those who hurt my companions die. His voice was cold as if he was announcing Xiao Li's death sentence. Humph, you overestimate yourself. I won't give you a chance to attack. Xiao Li snorted and flew out like a ghost. He had to quickly kill his opponent, not only for the crystal skull, but just the half Earth-rank treasure was enough to make him go crazy. His eyes emitted a terrifying light like a venomous snake, incomparably cold. Boom! When the terrifying palm struck out, the void collapsed. The power was too terrifying, and it was as if thousands of giant mountains were rampaging. Kill! Lin Xian also swung his sword. The power of the great dragon sword soul was stimulated to the extreme. His entire body was now like a peerless divine sword, unstoppable. In addition to the power of the Lone Star sword in his hand, the sword was extremely sharp. The blood-red sword light swept across the sky like a river of blood, emitting a monstrous bloody aura that swept out in all directions. The terrifying sword intent even shot into the sky. Boom! The intense collision caused the sky to lose its color. Lin Xian took a step back. The sword light in his eyes flickered as he slashed out again. Damn it! On the opposite side, Xiao Li's face darkened. The previous attack was actually a draw. This greatly surprised him. Even if his opponent had the Lone Star Sword, it was impossible for him to compete with him. In the distance, Dongfang Phoenix and the rest were shocked when they saw the scene. Originally, they thought that Lin Xian was irrational to fight alone. Now that they saw the scene, they were relieved. Lin Xian, who used the Lone Star Sword, was actually able to compete with a 4th-rank honorable realm expert. This was undoubtedly great news. Xiao Li's face darkened. What a troublesome brat. But against me, he has no chance of winning. The half-Earth-rank treasure will definitely be mine. Purple Python Martial Soul, come out. Xiao Li roared angrily. His entire body's spiritual energy erupted like the source of a storm, releasing countless wind blades. Roar! A deep roar was heard. A huge purple python ferociously appeared. Its tail was like a heavenly blade, blasting away the blood-red sword chi in the void. Boom! The blood-red sword chi was deflected and slashed to the side. Instantly, a 1,000-meter-long crack was formed on the ground. It was bottomless and extremely terrifying. Hee, the power of a half-Earth-rank treasure is really enviable. Xiao Li's eyes were burning. However, such a treasure is really a waste in your hands. Only I can make it shine. He stood on the purple python and looked down at Lin Xian. Say this after you have the Lone Star Sword. Lin Xian roared and unleashed the great dragon sword soul to the extreme. Countless sword chi burst out from his body and swept in all directions. He held the Lone Star Sword in his hand and activated the great dragon sword soul, quickly charging forward. You still dare to attack? Fine. I'll show you the power of my martial soul. Xiao Li controlled the purple python and attacked as well. Boom! Rumble! An intense battle unfolded and the momentum was terrifying. Each of Lin Xian's sword attacks was extremely powerful, as if they could cut through everything. However, Xiao Li was not to be trifled with. As a rank 4 honorable realm expert, and at the same time, he had summoned his martial soul. His combat strength was also terrifying. The two of them attacked, and the sky darkened. The ground sank, and countless rivers flowed. Boom! After another collision, Lin Xian was forced back. Ha ha ha. Kid, what other moves do you have? Hurry up and use them. Otherwise, I'll take your life. Xiao Li stood on the purple python and exuded a terrifying killing intent. Although he was shocked that Lin Xian could fight against him, he had the upper hand in this battle. In other words, he could definitely kill Lin Xian. Even the Lone Star Sword won't work. Looks like I can only use that move. Lin Xian's eyes flickered, and he took a deep breath. Chapter 896. In the sky, Xiao Li stood with his hands behind his back, his eyes flashing coldly. His opponent was harder to deal with than he had expected. He hadn't expected a second firmament brat to be able to fight with him for so long. However, it was useless because he would be the final victor. It was just that the process was a little difficult. But when he thought about how he could get a half-Earth rank artifact after killing his opponent, his eyes burned with passion again. Lin Xian's expression was cold. It seemed that he could only use that move. Originally, he didn't want to use it, but now it seemed that the Lone Star Sword alone wouldn't be enough to kill his opponent. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian's great dragon sword spirit surged. Do you really think you have everything under control? Today, I'll let you see my martial soul. Lin Xian raised his head and said in a sonorous voice, Your martial soul, ah-ha-ha-ha. Xiao Li was disdainful. What kind of martial soul could a second firmament venerate have? If Lin Xian used a half-Earth rank artifact, he might be able to contend with him. However, if he used his martial soul, he would be courting death. Martial souls were the source of power for venerates. There was a world of difference between martial souls at each level. In a situation where only one's martial soul was used, a 4th firmament venerate could easily defeat a 3rd firmament venerate. Not to mention that his opponent was only a second firmament venerate. There was no hope against him. It could even be said that he could kill him in an instant. However, in the next moment he couldn't laugh anymore. This was because a green sword shadow had appeared beside Lin Xian. It was abnormally hazy, but it emitted a terrifying aura. That aura made his heart palpitate. Not only him, but even Dongfang Fenghuang and the others who were hiding in the distance felt their hearts beat wildly. This is Lin Xian's martial soul. The group of people were shocked. The aura was too terrifying and it made them feel powerless. Moreover, they realized that they had never seen Lin Xian use his martial soul in the previous battle. This was the first time. This brat is too strange. In the sky, Xiao Li's face turned gloomy again. He had to act quickly. He couldn't delay any longer. Killing intent surged in his eyes. There was nothing he could do about it. The sword shadow was too terrifying. Its aura was not any weaker than his martial soul. He could not accept this at all. How could a second-level, martial-honored realm martial soul be compared to his? However, the truth was right in front of him, and he had no choice but to believe it. Die, brat! Xiao Li roared angrily. He urged the purple python to charge downwards. This time he wanted to kill his opponent in one strike. Humph! Lin Xian coldly snorted. He slowly stretched out his hand and grabbed the cyan sword shadow. An extremely powerful force erupted from his body and swept through the heavens and earth. This cyan sword shadow was naturally Lin Xian's dragon martial spirit. Boom! The cyan sword shadow waved and slashed forward with a sword light. As soon as the great dragon sword soul appeared, the heavens and earth lost their color. The attack power of such an offensive saint technique was extremely terrifying. That cyan sword chi was not only sharp, but it also seemed to have a soul. It was incomparably agile, capable of destroying everything as it slashed forward. What? Feeling the aura, Xiao Li's face changed drastically. Previously, when the cyan sword shadow did not move, he only felt that it was terrifying. It seemed to be on par with his martial soul. However, when his opponent attacked, he was stunned. This aura, this attack, had completely surpassed his martial soul. How is this possible? His eyes were filled with disbelief. A second-level, martial-honored realm martial soul had surpassed his? This was crazy. Damn it, block it for me. Xiao Li's face was ferocious as he roared. At this point, it was impossible for him to escape. He could only fight with all his might. He waved his arm, and the purple python quickly transformed into a long purple spear. At the tip of the spear was a ferocious snake head that seemed to be able to devour everything. Thousand snake transformation, purple python battle spear. As the spear stabbed out, purple light shone brightly and lit up the entire sky. The spear was too dazzling. It was like a dragon running amok, and a terrifying force pierced through the void. Boom! When the two collided, an earth-shattering sound rang out. The purple spear let out a crazy roar and violently collided with the cyan sword shadow. The force was shocking. However, no matter how strong it was only a dragon. On the other hand, Lin Xian's cyan sword shadow was a real dragon. An earth-shattering dragon's roar resounded through the 9 heavens. The cyan sword chi turned into a cyan dragon and swept out in all directions. Boom! The purple spear dimmed and Xiao Li was sent flying. He spat out a mouthful of blood. What? Xiao Li is injured. When Dongfang Phoenix saw this from afar, she was stunned. In particular, Bingling and the other 2 were shocked. The 3 of them had joined forces, but they could not hurt Xiao Li. Now, Lin Xian had only used one sword to make Xiao Li spit out blood. This was simply too shocking. Damn it, I'm going to kill you. Xiao Li was sent flying for 100 meters before he could stabilize his body. Then he looked at the blood on his hand and his entire body became distorted. Humiliation. This was a huge humiliation. He had been injured by a second-level martial honored realm brat. This was unacceptable. Brat, you forced me to do this. Xiao Lai's hair was disheveled, and he was in a frenzy. Thousand snake transformation merge. He roared wildly. Then he merged with a giant purple python in the sky, and a blinding purple light burst out. Rumble. A terrifying aura surged, and Xiao Lai let out an earth-shattering roar. In the next moment, he flew out from the purple light. After merging with his martial soul, he had become extremely ferocious. His eyes had turned green, and his body was covered with scales that emitted a cold light. The most eye-catching thing was his arm, which had become extremely thick. His right arm was ferocious, and his fist had turned into a purple python's head. His left arm had turned into a python's tail. His entire person was extremely demonic. Brat, go to hell! Xiao Lai threw out a punch. The purple python's head was ferocious, and its blood-red mouth tore open the void easily. Not only that, the python's head formed a purple light pillar that swept out in all directions. It could be said that Xiao Lai had become more powerful after merging with his martial soul. However, Lin Xian was not afraid. He held the cyan sword shadow and shot up into the sky. 108 rays of sword qi surrounded his body and pierced through the clouds. Die! The sword shadow flashed, and the long sword struck out. In an instant, the sky was filled with cyan light and sword qi. The sword once again sent Xiao Li flying. Ah! Xiao Lai was sent flying again and roared into the sky. No, I don't believe it. He was about to go crazy. Before this, Lin Xian was still an ant that he could crush. However, after a short while, he could not defeat Lin Xian. This feeling of having his identity changed made Xiao Li go crazy. You don't believe it? Then I'll beat you until you believe it. Lin Xian's voice was cold. His body swayed, and he appeared in front of Xiao Lai. The cyan sword shadow fell. Crack! Xiao Lai's pupils contracted, and he clenched his teeth to form a purple light screen in front of him. However, when the cyan sword shadow fell, the defensive light screen was as fragile as paper. Chapter 897. Xiao Li's pupils shrank as he tried his best to resist. However, his defense was as fragile as a piece of paper. The green sword shadow fell and instantly split the purple light screen. Then it landed heavily on Xiao Li's body. Bang! Xiao Li flew backward. Half of the bones in his body were broken. Fortunately, he had the purple martial soul's defense. Otherwise, the sword would have split him in half. In the distance, Dongfang Phoenix and the others stared blankly at the scene. They could not believe that Xiao Li, who was so arrogant not long ago, was now beaten up like a dead dog by Lin Xian. The contrast was too great. Xiao Li was also in a daze. His entire being was in a daze. To think that he, the mayor of Blackwater City, a dignified stage 4 expert, would actually be defeated? A touch of fear appeared in his eyes. He was finally afraid because his opponent had the power to kill him. Previously, he had been arrogant because he was able to crush Lin Xian and the others. But now, the situation had been reversed. Thus, his arrogance was completely gone. Stop! I won't fight anymore. Spare me. Xiao Li kept gasping for breath. Then he gritted his teeth and said, I don't want your half-Earth rank treasure. I don't want the crystal skull. I'll let you go, and we'll call it a day. How about that? Call it a day? Lin Xian sneered. First, the half-Earth rank treasure and the crystal skull are both mine. You have no right to say no. Second, call it a day? How is that possible? Why didn't you call it a day when you injured Bingling and the others? Now that you can't beat me, you come here and tell me to call it a day. Do you think that's possible? Then what do you want? What compensation do you want? Tell me. Compensation? I've said it before. You bullied my companions. You can only pay with your life. Kid, don't go too far. Hearing this, Xiao Li was furious again. He was like a crazy lion. Do you know who I am? If you dare to kill me, even if you're a disciple of Senma College, you can't escape death. Threatening me? No matter who you are, you must die today. Lin Xian did not want to say more. He held the great dragon sword soul and walked forward step by step. I'll kill you. Xiao Li's face was filled with madness. In the next moment, he burned the spiritual energy in his body, and a purple flame formed on the surface of his body. At the same time, his aura skyrocketed. Die, brat. In order to save his life, he didn't hesitate to burn his spirit energy. Although this method could increase his strength in a short period of time, the after effects were extremely tragic. He probably wouldn't be able to recover in half a year. Purple flames mixed with violent spiritual energy rushed towards Lin Xian. On the other hand, Lin Xian took a deep breath and held the cyan sword shadow with both hands, pushing the great dragon sword soul to its limits. Then he slashed with his sword. There was nothing out of the ordinary in the sky, but a sword shadow flashed by quickly. Then it turned into an azure dragon, roaring ferociously and pouncing forward. Then a terrifying sound rang out, and a dazzling light illuminated the entire sky. Terrifying energy spread out in all directions like waves. Everything in its path was reduced to ashes. Not good, retreat. Dongfang Phoenix and the others, who were hiding in a safe place, were shocked when they saw the energy of the sword wave surging towards them. They quickly retreated. They only stabilized themselves after retreating a few hundred feet. Then they looked forward anxiously. In front of them, sword radiance shot into the sky and thunder rumbled. It was a scene of destruction. After a long time, the horrifying scene gradually disappeared. The ground was full of scars and cracks that were created by the sword qi spread out for 1,000 meters. The nearby mountains and forests had all disappeared and turned into flat ground. Lin Xian, Dongfang Phoenix, and the others exclaimed and quickly ran forward. Then they saw a figure standing there. The person standing there was Lin Xian. Not far from him, Xiao Li was lying on the ground with a transparent hole in his chest. He couldn't be more dead. Seeing the corpse, Dongfang Phoenix and the others trembled. Then their eyes were filled with shock. Xiao Li, a level 4 supremacy, was dead. Lin Xian actually killed a level 4 supremacy. The four of them gasped and then looked at Lin Xian with complicated expressions. Lin Xian put away the green sword shadow. Then his feet swayed and he couldn't stand steadily. Are you okay? Seeing this, Dongfang Phoenix hurried forward to support him. Bingling and the others also saw Lin Xian's pale face. Their eyes were filled with worry. You look so pale. Are you injured? I'm not injured. I'm just a little exhausted, Lin Xian said weakly. Indeed, the spiritual power in his body had almost dried up. His muscles were sore, and his whole body felt like it was about to split open. Although the dragon sword soul was extremely powerful, the price he had to pay was not small. Just like now, Lin Xian was extremely weak. Exhausted. Dongfang Phoenix and the others were relieved when they heard that. It was good that he was not injured. They also knew that Lin Xian's combat power was too shocking. They thought that he must have activated some kind of secret skill. Now, it should be the after effects of using the secret skill. No matter what, we are safe now. Yang Lin sat down on the ground, his entire body relaxed. Indeed, the previous battle was too intense. Moreover, each of them had suffered serious injuries. They thought that they would definitely die when facing a level 4 supremacy. Now, Lin Xian had solved everything. This feeling of surviving a disaster was so good. All right, let's not waste any more time here. Let's leave quickly. If the people from Blackwater City find us, then the situation will be really bad, Bingling said worriedly. Hearing this, Everyone nodded and stood up to leave. Lin Xian summoned the golden-feathered divine eagle and was ready to leave. However, just as they climbed onto the back of the golden-feathered divine eagle, a mocking voice suddenly sounded. As expected of the prodigy of Senmu College, "You're not simple. You can even kill a level 4 supremacy." Hearing this, everyone's body stiffened and their eyes were filled with shock. Lin Xian frowned and quickly probed with his soul power. "Who is it? Come out," he shouted in a deep voice. The current situation was too bad. Among the 5 of them, except for Dongfang Phoenix, the other 4 were all injured. Moreover, Lin Xian was still very weak and did not have much combat power. If he was targeted at this time, the situation would be very dangerous. Bingling and the others were also aware of the situation. They scanned their surroundings cautiously. "Don't look for me. I'm here." The mocking voice sounded again. Then, the void fluctuated and a figure appeared in front of them. It was a young man with a slender figure. He looked at them with a cold smile. He was wearing a purple robe with the word Yen embroidered on his chest. Seeing the young man, Bingling and the others looked nervous and secretly circulated their spiritual power. Lin Xian's pupils shrank and he had a bad feeling. Chapter 898. Disciples of the Yen family. What are you trying to do by blocking our way? We are from the Immortal Martial Academy. Please leave quickly. Bingling shouted. She naturally recognized the other party's identity. However, the young man merely sneered without the slightest hint of fear. "You must be Fairy Bingling. You're indeed beautiful." "Fairy, don't worry. We won't do anything to you. We're looking for him." The young man smiled and pointed at Lin Xian. Seeing where the young man was pointing, Bingling and the others fell silent. They then looked at Lin Xian with complicated expressions. Lin Xian let out a bitter laugh and shrugged helplessly. "You've offended a lot of people." Dongfang Phoenix rolled her eyes at him. Bingling said in a low voice, "No matter who you're looking for, we're a team. We came out together, so we have to go back together. I advise you to leave quickly. You can't afford to delay Senmu College's mission." Bingling said in a low voice. She wanted to use her identity as a student of Senmu College to intimidate the disciples of the Yen family. However, the other party shook his head. "This kid killed a genius of the Yen family. Do you think I'll let him go? An eye for an eye, an eye for an eye. Fairy, you should know this. I advise you to leave obediently. Otherwise, don't blame us for being merciless. Moreover, such a good opportunity doesn't come by often." The smile on the young man's face disappeared and was replaced by a murderous look. "Revenge? Don't make it sound so righteous." Lin Xian sneered. "Isn't this what you want?" Then he raised the Lone Star sword in his hand. "It's good that you know." The young man looked at the Lone Star sword with a burning gaze. He had seen the previous battle. Lin Xian was able to fight a level 4 venerable to a draw with the power of the Lone Star Sword. This was the power of the Lone Star Sword. It was absolutely shocking. If the Yen family could get their hands on it, their strength would increase rapidly. At the thought of this, the young man grinned and said excitedly, "Kid, hand over the Lone Star Sword and I'll give you a quick death." "You don't seem to have the right to say that." Lin Xian glanced at him with disdain. Looking at the disdainful gaze, the young man from the Yen clan's face darkened and his body trembled with anger. He was also a genius disciple, but now he was being looked down upon. However, he did not make a move in the end. After all, the scene of Lin Xian killing a 4th level venerable was still deeply imprinted in his mind. Although the other party looked weak, there was no guarantee that he didn't have a backup plan. He didn't dare to take this risk. Lin Xian smiled when he saw the other party's angry and fearful expression. Trash! Bingling and the others were also disdainful, their eyes full of disdain. Previously, he had been extremely arrogant. Now he did not even dare to make a move against an extremely weak second-rank venerate. If this wasn't trash, then what was? Good, good. You're indeed a sharp-tongued fellow. The young man was so angry that he laughed, and his eyes were filled with ferocity. I'd like to see if you'll still be so stubborn later. His eyes were cold, and he decided that when he caught Lin Xian later, he would torture him to death to vent the hatred in his heart. In the next moment, he stretched out his arm and raised it above his head, shooting a ball of light into the sky. Boom! The ball of light exploded, and it was extremely dazzling. It was like a signal that flashed in the sky. Soon, the surrounding space fluctuated and violent energy surged. Countless black figures appeared around them. So many people. Bing Ling and the others' eyes narrowed when they saw the dense crowd of martial artists around them. If it was only the young man, they would not be afraid at all. Now that there were so many people, they could not contend with them in their current state. Humph, kid, I've finally caught you. An old voice was heard, and it was filled with boundless coercion. It pressed down on Lin Xian. Lin Xian frowned and was about to make a move. However, Dongfang Phoenix, who was beside him, snorted and made a move first. A ray of fiery red light shot out and instantly tore the coercion apart. What's the point of bullying an injured junior? The Yen family is really shameless. Dongfang Phoenix was furious. Little girl, this is not a place for you to act presumptuously. An old figure appeared in the void and stared down with a gloomy face. As soon as he appeared, the surrounding crowd of cultivators quickly gathered and surrounded Lin Xian and the others. In addition to the old man at the front, 3 other figures appeared and stood side by side with him. They were all third heaven honorables, and their auras were powerful and mighty. Kid, hand over the Lone Star sword obediently. Otherwise, you won't be able to escape today. Why are you talking nonsense with him? Just catch him and kill him. An old woman in green said viciously from the side. You sent so many people to besiege me. You really think highly of me. Looking at the countless figures around him, Lin Xian smirked. But it's a pity. If the Lone Star sword were to fall into the hands of a shameless family like the Yen family, it would be a great loss. Hearing Lin Xian's mockery, Dongfang Phoenix and the others covered their mouths and laughed. Kid, you're courting death. The young man from before was furious. The murderous aura on his body turned into a sharp sword and rushed into the sky. Why, you're not convinced? Lin Xian sneered. Then come and prove yourself. All right, I'll kill you now. The young man was trembling with anger. He had been looked down upon twice. With his arrogant character, how could he stand it? Chapter 899. After saying this, that elder withdrew his hand, no longer intercepting him. Below, the young man smiled cruelly. Brat, I'll let you know how powerful I am. Remember, my name is Yen Song. The young man sneered and dashed forward. The long sword in his hand pierced toward Lin Xian like a venomous snake. This sword strike was extremely sharp, and the angle of the strike was very tricky. Very few people at the second level of the Venerable Realm could withstand it, let alone the extremely weak Lin Xian. He was afraid that this sword strike would take his opponent's life. Dongfang Fenghuang shouted and wanted to intervene. However, a terrifying force shrouded her and restrained her. Not only her, but Bing Ling and the others were also shrouded by a terrifying force. It was obvious that the elder from the Yen family had intervened and restrained them. Just watch. I don't need you to do anything to deal with a piece of trash. Lin Xian smirked, and a cold look appeared in his eyes. Looking at the strange and tricky sword technique, he held the Lone Star sword and stabbed it out. Poof! Blood spurted out, and a figure fell to the ground. It was the arrogant young man from the Yen family. His sword was still 3 feet away from Lin Xian, and it did not even touch his clothes. Is this the demeanor of a Yen family disciple? How unsightly! Lin Xian put away his long sword and sneered. What? In the sky, the few elders from the Yen family were stunned and they were shocked. Their opponent was obviously very weak. How could he display such a powerful sword technique? He killed their disciple in one strike. It was too ironic. It was a slap to their faces. Previously, they were arrogant and said that the Yen family disciple was peerless. However, he was killed by a weak second-level honorable in one strike. This huge contrast was simply too ironic. Around them, countless martial artists from the Yen family were shocked and could not believe it. Dongfang Fenghuang and the others sneered. Even Yang Lin and Yi Yen looked at them with disdain. Your Yen family is so pitiful. You're such a big family, but you don't even have a genius in the younger generation. How are you going to survive in the future? I advise you not to fight over the Lone Star Sword. You should focus on nurturing the Yen clan's disciples. Otherwise, your Yen clan's disciples would be the laughingstock of others. Lin Xian shook his head and sighed, his face full of regret. Mockery, this was blatant mockery. The elders of the Yen clan were so angry that their bodies were trembling. They wanted nothing more than to slap the other party to death. The young disciples of the Yen clan were even more furious. They glared at Lin Xian and wanted to tear him apart. They were all young geniuses and believed that their talents were extraordinary. They didn't put ordinary people in their eyes. But now they were actually being looked down upon by a weak and injured kid. This was absolutely intolerable. Let me kill him. A young man from the Yen family slashed out with a strong murderous aura. Looking at the young man, the elders' eyes were filled with uncertainty. They didn't want to lose any more disciples. But if they didn't vent their anger, it would be too sullen. Moreover, although the young man before him was only at the second celestial level, his talent was extraordinary, and he could already fight against a third celestial level venerate. If they sent someone like him out, they would definitely be able to kill the other party. As for Lin Xian, he was extremely weak now. The attack just now was probably the last of his strength. This time, the other party definitely wouldn't be able to block it. Thinking of this, the elder in blue robes nodded. Seeing that the elder had given him permission, the tall young man revealed a cruel smile. He leaped high into the air and glided in the air like a beast. Then he landed heavily on the ground, causing the entire ground to crack. Countless terrifying cracks spread out in all directions. An entire ground was split into pieces. One punch is enough to kill you. Lin Xian shook his head slightly. The person from before was also very confident, but now he's lying on the ground. I advise you to get lost if you want to live. The disciples of the Yen clan are just trash. You're courting death. Tiger Flame, Steel Fist. The tall young man roared and threw out a punch. Terrifying energy roared and gathered into a ferocious tiger. Countless flames burned on its body, emitting terrifying energy. This punch was extremely powerful. It was indeed comparable to a rank 3 honorable. Lin Xian's face darkened. He pursed his lips and raised his arm. Holding the Lone Star Sword, he stabbed out. A sword chi streaked across the air and quickly cut the roaring tiger apart. Then, the sword radiance shone and entered the tall young man's body. Pung pung pung. In an instant, the terrifying and vast energy disappeared. The tall young man's body was split into 2 from the middle. His upper body fell to the ground, while his lower body was still in the charging position. After running for dozens of meters, his lower body fell down. Blood spurted out and dyed the ground red. Cough, cough. After stabbing out, Lin Xian's face turned even paler. His body trembled slightly, and he coughed out a few drops of blood. Silence, absolute silence. The entire space was dead silent. Countless people widened their eyes, unable to believe the scene in front of them. After a long time, the martial artists of the Yen clan exclaimed. The few elders in the sky also had hideous expressions. They were so angry that their bodies trembled. That was the genius of the Yen clan. He was a martial artist who could challenge those of a higher cultivation level. But at this moment, he was killed by an extremely weak brat. Their Yen clan disciple's body was split into two, but the despicable thief only coughed out a mouthful of blood. This huge contrast was something they could not accept. Lin Xian was expressionless, but he was roaring in his heart. He was indeed extremely weak. When he attacked just now, he endured the pain all over his body. Now he felt as if his entire body was about to split apart. Fortunately, his willpower was strong, and he forcefully resisted the pain. Moreover, he appeared to be calm and indifferent. His goal was to anger the other party to death. As expected, the other party was so angry that she was about to explode. "Brat, I'm going to kill you." The old woman in green had a hideous expression. She pointed out a finger, and a jade-green finger beam pierced towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian frowned. He turned his body with difficulty and dodged to the side. This movement made the corner of his mouth twitch uncontrollably. His entire body felt like it was about to split apart. Whoosh! The finger beam brushed past his body. The terrifying aura pushed him back, causing Lin Xian to spit out a few more mouthfuls of blood. "Damn it, old witch. I'll kill you later." Lin Xian gritted his teeth. Then he slowly stood up and smiled. "Why, the young one can't beat me, so the old one has to step in? Today, even if you're shameless, I'll take you all on." "Ah, I'm so angry." In the sky, the elders' eyes were burning with anger. Their bodies were about to combust. They were too angry. This was obviously a weak thief, but he was able to avoid their killing moves several times. This made them go crazy. There's no need for the elders to step in to deal with a dying person. At this moment, a calm voice sounded. Immediately after, the void rippled open, and a tall and handsome young man appeared in the void. Chapter 900. That person was dressed in black and looked very handsome. There was a heroic spirit between his eyebrows, and the aura on his body was even more terrifying. He was not any weaker than the Yen family elders. The young man was also a third-level honorable. To be able to reach the third level of honorable at such a young age, he was definitely a genius. It's just a small matter. Why don't the elders do it? Let me do it. The young man looked calm and did not take Lin Xian seriously. "Very well, then I'll leave it to you." The elders heaved a sigh of relief when they saw the young man. This time, the Yen clan's reputation could be redeemed. The young man was a third-level honorable and was not much weaker than them. It would be safe for him to do it. Bing Ling and the others were worried again. The young man was a terrifying opponent. Even if Lin Xian was at his peak, he would have to take him seriously. However, Lin Xian was extremely weak now. How could he defeat the young man? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He did not expect the Yen family to have such a young expert. However, it was impossible for the young man to kill him just like that. "Speak. Do you want to kill yourself to atone for your crimes? Or do you want me to do it?" The young man stood with his hands behind his back. He raised his chin and looked arrogant. "Do it myself." Lin Xian smiled. "I don't have such a habit." "Then I'll help you. However, you'll end up in a miserable state if you fall into my hands. You better be mentally prepared." The arrogant young man sneered and pointed his finger. His finger technique was the same as the elder who had attacked earlier. It was the Yen family's ultimate technique, the void penetrating finger. It was said to be able to penetrate everything. When the arrogant young man used it, its power was terrifying. The arrogant young man sneered and pointed his finger. The light from his finger shone like a silver dragon. It was extremely bright and gave off a roar that shook the heavens and earth. In an instant, the silver light arrived in front of Lin Xian and slammed into him. Lin Xian frowned and his eyes shone. He could naturally feel the power of the finger. However, he was now extremely weak and did not have much strength left. He had to plan carefully to kill this expert in front of him. Therefore, he did not dodge. Instead, he used the red lotus armor and formed a red armor shadow in front of him. Bang! In the next moment, the terrifying finger light collided with the crimson armor phantom, emitting an earth-shattering sound. Lin Xian was also sent flying by the enormous force. Fortunately, the red lotus battle armor was extremely powerful and neutralized most of the force. However, his body was currently extremely weak, and his remaining strength caused him to spit out a mouthful of blood. Humph, I thought you were some kind of expert, but it seems like you can't even withstand a single blow. How boring. The arrogant young man lifted his chin and stared coldly at Lin Xian. Can't even withstand a single blow? Dongfang Fenghuang was trembling with anger. She couldn't stand it anymore. The other party was too despicable and shameless. Why didn't you say that when Lin Xian wasn't injured, now that you're dealing with a seriously injured person? You still have the nerve to call yourself a genius? If I were you, I would have killed myself long ago. Yang Lin snorted coldly. The other party did not dare to come out when Lin Xian was at his peak. Now that Lin Xian was weak and could not use his strength, the other party jumped out to make a fuss. He was indeed shameless. However, the arrogant young man did not think much of it. He sneered and said nonchalantly, "No matter what you say, he's lying on the ground now, and I'm unharmed. This is the difference between us." Difference? Lin Xian laughed. He stood up from the ground and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He said coldly, "You're a third-rank honorable. You don't dare to fight me in close combat when I'm seriously injured. Instead, you choose to attack me from afar. Tell me the difference between us. You don't even have the courage to fight me in close combat. How can someone like you be called a genius? You're just a coward. Do I need to fight you in close combat to kill you? One finger is enough." The arrogant young man sneered and was unmoved. "Fine, fine. Then try to kill me with one finger." Lin Xian's face darkened. At this point, he had to stay calm and provoke the other party as much as possible. He would only have a chance to kill the other party if the other party was enraged and fought him in close combat. "You want to die? It's not that easy," the arrogant young man said coldly. "I'll cripple your right leg with my next finger." He was very arrogant and directly stated the direction of his next attack. Only someone who was extremely confident or who had a huge difference in strength would dare to do so. It was obvious that the arrogant young man was superior and did not take Lin Xian seriously at all. As soon as he finished speaking, he raised his finger and bent it slightly. Then he flicked it quickly. Buzz! The void was torn apart, and a silver ray of light pierced toward Lin Xian. The direction and angle of the attack happened to be Lin Xian's right leg. Lin Xian gritted his teeth again and endured the pain of his body being torn apart. He activated his spiritual power and formed the red lotus armor in front of his right leg. Bam! There was another earth-shattering tremor. He was pushed back and blood flowed from the corner of his mouth again. However, he managed to block the attack. Hee, I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. Lin Xian stared ahead with a look of disdain. Seeing this, the arrogant young man from the Yen family's face darkened, and there was a look of anger in his eyes. He did not expect a dying guy to be able to block his attack. He was very surprised. You can't even hurt a seriously injured person. What a piece of trash, Dongfang Fenghuang said disdainfully. Weren't you very confident before? I think you're just slapping yourself in the face. Yang Lin said in a low voice. Bing Ling and the others also looked at him with disdain. Feeling their gazes, the arrogant young man was completely enraged. Boy, you've successfully angered me. Since you want to die so badly, I'll fulfill your wish. The arrogant young man's face darkened. He took a step forward and prepared to finish off his opponent in close combat. In the void, the few elders from the Yen family frowned. The other party had repeatedly provoked them and wanted to fight in close combat. Could it be that he was up to something? Therefore, the blue-robed elder quickly sent a voice transmission to remind the arrogant young man not to fight in close combat. Elder, don't worry. What kind of tricks can a dying boy play? The arrogant young man was very confident. If I can't even kill him, I don't deserve to be called the genius of the Yen family. Indeed, he had the right to be confident. To be able to reach the third level of the honorable realm at such a young age, his talent was shocking. He did not think that there was any suspense in this battle. With a stomp, the arrogant young man turned into a black shadow and quickly charged towards Lin Xian. This scene made Dongfang Fenghuang and the others nervous. Although Lin Xian had provoked the arrogant young man to fight in close combat, they were still very worried now that it was really close combat. The main reason was that Lin Xian was too weak now. It would be difficult for him to continue fighting with a third-level honorable realm. Bingling and the others sent voice transmissions to each other and secretly circulated their spiritual energy, preparing to strike at the critical moment. Lin Xian looked at the figure that was charging towards him, and a cold smile appeared on his face. The other party had finally taken the bait. Previously, he had risked his injuries to take the other party's attacks head-on. Finally, he had angered the other party and started to fight in close combat. Lin Xian was waiting for this moment. Chapter 901. He gritted his teeth and endured the pain all over his body. He summoned a blood clone while he held the Lone Star sword tightly. Whoosh! The arrogant young man arrived in front of Lin Xian in an instant. His eyes were filled with cruelty. Then he reached out his fist and punched Lin Xian's head. Bang! The punch landed squarely on Lin Xian's body. The arrogant young man felt blood spurting out, and the smell of blood was pungent. However, he did not know that it was only Lin Xian's blood clone that was injured. Lin Xian's real body quickly retreated the moment he punched and dodged the fatal blow. Lin Xian was using his clone to create an illusion and create an opportunity to attack. Now, the opportunity he had been waiting for was here. The Lone Star sword flashed and stabbed out quickly. A cold light shook heaven and earth. At that moment, countless people were shocked as if they had been slashed by a sharp sword. Bang! The next moment, the scene seemed to have frozen. In front of him, the destroyed clone slowly dissipated and turned into a bloody mist that merged back into Lin Xian's body. On the other hand, the arrogant young man's body was stiff and trembling nonstop. A blue sword had pierced through his chest. That's impossible. I've already destroyed your head. How can you still be alive? He had a look of disbelief. Humph, you don't believe me when I say you're trash. Can't you see that? Lin Xian said disdainfully, Go to hell and think about it slowly. Then he pulled out the Lone Star sword. Lin Xian had used up all his strength, so when he pulled out the sword, his entire arm was trembling. The arrogant young man from the Yen family was about to explode when he saw that. Such a weak person had actually killed him. He was unwilling and wanted to resist, but the power of the great dragon's sword soul bombarded his body. He could not resist at all and could only watch helplessly. Moreover, his life force was rapidly draining away. A cold feeling enveloped his body. He regretted that he had to engage in close combat with Lin Xian. Plop! When Lin Xian pulled out the Lone Star sword, the arrogant young man's body fell to the ground. He could not be more dead. The surrounding people were dumbfounded. They could not believe it. A third sky venerable realm expert had died. Just like that? Bingling and the others widened their eyes and stared at Lin Xian with a strange expression. This guy is really scary. No. In the sky, the elders of the Yen family roared. Ah, damn thief, I'm going to kill you. They were crazy, completely crazy. That arrogant young man was the pride of their clan, the hope of their clan. But now he had been killed. Aggrieved, too aggrieved. Those elders' eyes were all red like demons. Their bodies were emitting a terrifying, killing intent. Die, you little thief! The green-clothed old woman shrieked. She waved her fingers, and 5 streaks of silver light shot out like 5 silver flood dragons. They shot through the air at high speed, emitting thunderous sounds. The blue-robed old man also attacked. A blue palm with a mysterious aura slammed downwards. In an instant, a terrifying aura quickly enveloped Lin Xian. Attack! Bing Ling let out a shout and quickly attacked. She knew that Lin Xian would not be able to withstand such an attack. Frost danced in the air. Countless icicles rose from the ground and pierced into the sky. They were like divine spears, emitting a cold aura. Yang Lin roared and formed a seal with his palms. A huge rock cage was formed to protect Lin Xian. Dongfang Fenghuang and Yi Yan also launched powerful attacks to resist the elders of the Yan family. All kinds of collision sounds were heard. Light splashed everywhere, and the entire sky was covered. When the light disappeared, Lin Xian was still standing there with a pale face and a mocking smile on his face. Seeing that smile, the elders of the Yan family were furious. The Yan family is really useless. They can't even kill a dying man. A charming laugh was heard with a strong sense of disdain. Who is it? Come out. The blue-robed elder roared, and his voice shook the surroundings. They were on the verge of going berserk. How dare someone laugh at them? That's courting death. You're so angry, but you seem to have found the wrong person. That voice suddenly turned cold. It was like a sharp sword that cut through the void. Then, an enchanting figure appeared. Behind him was a large group of martial artists. Vientiane auction. Seeing that enchanting figure, the eyes of the Yan family's elder shrunk. He did not expect that person to come. Lin Xian furrowed his brows again. It seemed like he had been completely exposed this time. Bing Ling and the rest stood together nervously. They did not expect to attract so many experts. Haha, it's so lively. A loud voice rang out, like a bell, shaking the heavens and earth. A huge golden spiritual boat came from afar. It was like a golden ray of light, and it arrived nearby in an instant. Countless martial artists stood on the spiritual boat. The person in front was a burly man who looked like a golden giant. He carried a huge battle axe on his back, and his entire body was filled with explosive power. Quang Zhan! They did not expect the people from the huge axe city to come as well. Kid, you can't escape this time. Quang Zhan looked down, and his eyes were burning. Countless martial artists flew over. Other than the 3 major forces, the Huang family and the Lung family from Windy City were also there. Anyway, they were all here for the Lone Star Sword. Kid, hand over the Lone Star Sword. Countless voices rang out, filled with greed. Looking at those martial artists, Lin Xian's face turned cold. He whispered to Bing Ling and the rest, "Listen up, leave quickly. This matter has nothing to do with you." The situation this time was too dangerous. He did not want Bing Ling and the rest to take the risk. After all, they had helped him a lot. No. Bing Ling and the rest shook their heads. Although the situation was not good, they were unwilling to leave. Don't worry, I have a way to save my life. Do you still remember the space teleportation platform? I still have it here. Lin Xian transmitted his voice. As long as you leave safely, these people will not be able to trap me. Really? Bing Ling and the rest raised their heads and looked at Lin Xian's confident smile. Their hearts calmed down. You said it. You must come back alive. Bing Ling and the rest nodded their heads. No problem. Lin Xian smiled. Then he raised his head. You are looking for me. Let the people around me leave. Leave? Impossible. An elder from the Huang family sneered. Those who are here today don't even think about leaving. An expert from the Lung family said coldly. Humph. Bing Ling snorted coldly and raised her hand to throw out a jade token. The token enlarged in the air like a jade door. On it were two large and flamboyant words, Immortal Martial. Immortal Martial? Senmu College. Seeing this scene, many martial artists were shocked. The eyes of the experts from the Huang family and Lung family shrank, their faces full of shock. You dare to stop a disciple of Senmu College? How dare you? Bing Ling shouted with a hint of anger in her voice. The experts from the Huang family and Lung family looked terrible, as if they had eaten a rat. They wanted to show off, but they did not expect to kick an iron plate. Chapter 902. The countenances of the experts from the Huang clan and Lung clan all turned black. They were filled with regret in their hearts. Why did they have to take the lead? Now that they had offended someone from the Immortal Martial Academy, they didn't dare to do so. It could be said that they were in a dilemma. Seeing the awkward expressions of the two families, Ling Lin sneered. If you don't have the strength, don't come out to show off. Hearing this, the martial artists from the Huang and Lung families trembled in anger. They glared at Lin Xian fiercely, wanting to tear him apart. All right, you can leave, but he must stay. The alluring lady from the Wanxiang auction, Shangguan Xian, said coldly as she pointed at Lin Xian. Junior brother Lin, be careful. Bing Ling and the others looked at Lin Xian deeply, then rushed into the sky and left quickly. Although the situation was very dangerous, they believed that Lin Xian would return safely. Moreover, they had another reason for leaving, and that was to ask the college for help. For a peerless genius like Lin Xian, the Immortal Martial Academy would definitely not allow him to fall. Seeing the backs of Bing Ling and the others leaving, the surrounding martial artists laughed wildly again. Now Lin Xian was like a weak ant. He couldn't escape at all and was completely at their mercy. Kid, hand over the Lone Star sword, and I'll leave your corpse intact. Hee, I won't let you die so easily. I'll let you know what it means to live a life worse than death. All sorts of arrogant voices sounded, and their eyes were filled with greed. Lin Xian coughed twice, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and walked away shakily. Humph, kid, I advise you not to play any tricks. Otherwise, you'll die a horrible death. Shangguan Xian said coldly. Whether you can get the Lone Star sword or not, you'll die today. I'll let you know the consequences of offending the Yen family. The elders from the Yen family ground their teeth so hard that they almost broke. A group of people floated in the sky, looking at Lin Xian walking slowly on the ground. They all had cruel smiles on their faces. They were like cats playing with a mouse. They weren't in a hurry to make a move. Instead, they were enjoying the moment. Lin Xian's face was expressionless. He walked slowly, but in his heart he was sneering. A bunch of damned bastards. Just you wait. Soon you won't be able to laugh anymore. He walked very slowly, but it didn't take long for him to arrive near Xiao Li's corpse. Lin Xian's goal was very simple. His body was currently weak, and he could not use much strength. Therefore, in order to deal with the people around him, he needed to have enough strength first. And Xiao Li's corpse was the best source of power. Xiao Li was a 4th-level martial saint and was extremely powerful. His blood contained a large amount of essence energy. Lin Xian, on the other hand, had obtained the blood sword inheritance and could use this blood to recover. Therefore, in the next moment, he bent his fingers and shot out a thin red light that pierced into Xiao Li's corpse. With a low shout, Lin Xian activated the blood sword inheritance and quickly absorbed the blood energy. Not good. Quickly kill this brat. Seeing Lin Xian's strange actions, Shangguan Xian's face finally changed. Her willowy eyebrows trembled, and a bad premonition arose in her heart. With a shout, Shangguan Xian waved her jade-like hands, and a pair of jade-like palms slammed down from the sky. However, she was still one step too late. Lin Xian activated the blood sword inheritance and instantly gained strength. Although he had not fully recovered, he could already move freely. With a tap of his foot, he activated the illusory demon steps and calmly dodged the palm. At the same time, he clenched his fist, and a blood-red sword appeared in his hand. In the next moment, a ferocious dragon head appeared on the blood-red sword and swallowed Xiao Li's corpse. "Quickly stop him. This brat is about to recover." At this moment, the surrounding martial artists understood what was going on. All of them screamed in fear and quickly attacked Lin Xian with powerful attacks. Countless dazzling lights flew in the sky like meteors and blasted downwards. However, Lin Xian was currently shrouded in a ball of red aura. It surrounded him like blood, and on the blood-red light screen, there were strange patterns. It was very strange and emitted a terrifying aura. This was Lin Xian activating the Blood Sword Inheritance's secret technique to quickly absorb the energy. Soon, the blood-red light on the surface of his body became stronger and stronger, and it quickly rotated. A wave of energy erupted and spread out in all directions. Boom! A shocking vibration sounded, and a blood-red giant that was hundreds of feet tall suddenly appeared. It roared and swept its arms, knocking away all the incoming attacks. In the next moment, Lin Xian roared. His black hair fluttered, and a terrifying aura spread in all directions. The blood-red sword in his hand disappeared, and in its place was the Lone Star sword that was blooming with dark blue light. After using the Blood Sword Inheritance's secret technique and the energy from Xiao Li's corpse, Lin Xian's strength had finally recovered. He held the Lone Star sword in his hand and looked around coldly. He was like the god of death, emitting a biting, cold, murderous aura. "A bunch of old dogs. Didn't you want the Lone Star sword? It's here now. Come and get it if you can." "Humph. What's so great about recovering your strength? I'll kill you now." A figure flew out quickly, carrying a terrifying aura. It was an elder of the Yen family, and his strength was at the third heaven of the honorable realm. He attacked with all his strength, and violent energy swept in all directions. However, Lin Xian's expression was cold as he quickly swung his sword. Poof! A head flew up and blood spurted out. Then Lin Xian nailed him in the air with a blood-red sword and quickly sucked him dry. A blood-red figure appeared behind him, holding a blood-red sword. It emitted a bloody aura and sucked all the blood dry. In the next moment, Lin Xian's aura became stronger. Shock, absolute shock. A third heaven of the honorable realm could not even block a single sword. What a piece of trash. Whether it was the old or the young of the Yen family, they were all trash. Lin Xian's expression was cold, and he sneered disdainfully. In the sky, the elders of the Yen family were furious, and at the same time they felt a chill in their hearts. The elder who attacked just now was not much weaker than them, and he was also an expert of the family. However, he was killed in just one move. This made their hearts tremble, and they did not dare to attack rashly. As expected of a half-Earth-ring treasure, it's so powerful. It can let a second heaven of the honorable realm kill a third heaven expert so easily. This treasure must not fall into the hands of others. Kuang Zhan's voice was loud and clear, filled with excitement. "Everyone, let's attack together. I don't believe that he can fight against so many people." Shengguan Xian also shouted. "Okay, let's attack together. Let's kill this little thief first. Then we'll discuss the Lone Star sword." Immediately, dozens of martial artists walked out. These people were all third heaven honorables, and they had terrifying auras on their bodies. When they connected together, their momentum was terrifying. Not to mention Lin Xian, they were confident that they could kill even a fourth heaven honorable realm expert. These people walked towards Lin Xian step by step. With every step, their auras became stronger. In the end, it was like 100,000 demon mountains pressing down on Lin Xian. Chapter 903. Dozens of third-level venerables sneered as they pressed down on Lin Xian, creating an extremely terrifying aura. With so many people, it was enough to kill a fourth-level venerables. Lin Xian's heart was also heavy. He activated the Great Dragon Sword Soul to the extreme as he had no choice but to attack with all his strength. An intense battle erupted as sword chi flashed and light flashed, causing the entire space to become chaotic. Lin Xian had an offensive saint technique like the Great Dragon Sword Soul. At the same time, he also had the Lone Star Sword, a powerful half-earth rank artifact. His battle prowess was astonishing. However, the opponents this time were too strong. Dozens of third-level venerables joined forces, and their aura shook the sky. Even if he had an ancient treasure, he could only barely resist. However, those third-level venerables were even more shocked. They could already kill a fourth-level venerables if they joined forces, but they couldn't take down a second-level venerables in such a short time. This made them extremely shocked, and their desire for the Lone Star Sword grew even stronger. If they could obtain such a treasure, their strength would definitely increase by several times. Dozens of people joined forces and formed a terrifying light palm that blasted towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian quickly slashed out a blood-colored sword chi. The two collided and produced a loud boom. Lin Xian was blasted back dozens of feet. His body was attacked again, and blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. There was no other way. Dozens of third-level venerables joining forces were too strong. Only he could withstand it. If it was anyone else, they probably wouldn't be able to withstand a single move. Brat, so what if you've recovered your strength? You can't play any tricks in front of us. Hand over the Lone Star Sword, and I can give you a quick death. Otherwise, you'll die a miserable death. Seeing that Lin Xian was injured, everyone sneered again. Lin Xian wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said coldly, "Do you really think you have the situation under control? You're all so arrogant. Aren't you afraid of being slapped in the face again? What other tricks do you have? Use them all. With all of us joining forces, we can even kill a fourth-level venerables. It's enough to deal with you." The blue-robed elder from the Yen family said ferociously. His eyes were spitting fire as he stared at Lin Xian, killing intent radiating from his body. So what if I can fight a fourth-level venerables? I've even killed a true fourth-level venerable realm cultivator before, let alone you guys. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous and carried a biting, cold, killing intent. Since you want to die, don't blame me for being merciless. Hearing this, everyone's hearts trembled, and a chill rose from the bottom of their hearts. Indeed, before they came, Lin Xian had killed a fourth-level venerable. Hurry up and get rid of this brat. Stop delaying. Shangguan Xian said softly. She also had a bad feeling in her heart. Everyone looked at each other and nodded slightly. Then they activated the spiritual energy in their bodies and prepared to go all out. Lin Xian, on the other hand, revealed an evil smile. He put the Lone Star Sword back into the scabbard on his back and closed his eyes. Inside his body, the Great Dragon Sword Soul had transformed into a huge azure dragon and was constantly colliding with a mysterious small sword. At the same time, Lin Xian's soul also entered the mysterious little sword. He controlled the Great Dragon Sword Soul to form an azure dragon palm and viciously grabbed at the huge black cauldron. A low sound rang out. In the space inside the mysterious little sword, the 10,000 bee sting was attacked and emitted a terrifying aura. A black light flickered, and the aura was terrifying. If it was outside, the entire ground would have been shattered. However, inside the mysterious little sword, there was no impact at all. However, the 10,000 life cauldron was activated. Its entire body emitted a black light, and various birds and beasts swam quickly on the cauldron. "Come out!" Lin Xian roared angrily. He used the Great Dragon Sword Soul to form an azure dragon palm and quickly grabbed at the 10,000 bee sting. Then he forcefully threw it outside. In the outside world, when everyone saw Lin Xian put away the Lone Star Sword, they immediately sneered and attacked. In an instant, powerful attacks came from all directions. If one was hit, even a 4th-level Venerable Realm Cultivator would die. Just as these attacks were about to land on Lin Xian, the air around Lin Xian started to fluctuate rapidly. It was as if it was about to shatter, and crackling sounds could be heard. A black shadow appeared from his body. Then it quickly expanded and formed a huge black cauldron that suppressed the surroundings. Boom! The moment the black cauldron appeared, it carried a terrifying aura and spread out in all directions, shattering all the attacks that were flying towards it. What? When the surrounding martial artists saw this, their pupils constricted and they turned pale with fright. They could not believe that Lin Xian could really neutralize their attacks. Damn it! What is this huge black cauldron? It's so powerful. Everyone was shocked and extremely confused. Even the Lone Star Sword could not neutralize their attacks. In the next moment, they felt the ferocious aura coming from the huge black cauldron. Immediately, their bodies froze and fear appeared on their faces. The aura was too terrifying, and it made their hearts palpitate. It was like ants meeting a huge dragon. What is this thing? At this moment, the faces of Shangguan Xian, Crazy Warrior, and the rest changed. At this moment, Lin Xian suddenly opened his eyes. A layer of bright red armor covered his body, resisting the ferocious aura coming from the huge black cauldron. Then, his lips curled into a sinister smile. He pulled out the Lone Star Sword again, activated the Great Dragon Sword Soul, and slashed at the huge black cauldron. Dong! 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 The sound of metal clashing could be heard. Then, the entire black cauldron trembled. Black light bloomed from its body, condensing into a black light pillar that pierced through the sky. An extremely terrifying aura instantly erupted. Feeling this terrifying aura, Lin Xian's face changed drastically. Without any hesitation, he raised his hand and summoned a mysterious jade platform, quickly teleporting away. Just as Lin Xian used the mysterious jade platform to teleport away, the 10,000 beast ding finally erupted. A terrifying, ferocious aura covered the heavens and earth, forming a cage. Countless black demonic beasts rushed out and rushed towards the surrounding martial artists. This change was too sudden. From the appearance of the 10,000 beast ding to the eruption, it happened in an instant. The martial artists who came to kill Lin Xian did not even have time to react before they were surrounded. The 3rd-level honorables were still fine. With their powerful strength, they could withstand the pressure. However, the other martial artists were not so lucky. The black demonic beasts were like a black flood that quickly rushed towards those martial artists. Instantly, flesh and blood splattered everywhere. All sorts of screams could be heard. It was like a scene from hell. No. Seeing their disciples being killed, the 3rd-level honorables' eyes turned red. They roared like demons and waved their hands, quickly slashing the black demonic beasts. However, those demonic beasts were not real. They were just bodies of energy. There was no end to them. No matter how strong the 3rd-level honorables were, their combined attacks did not have much effect. Not only that, the aura of the 10,000 beast ding was too terrifying. It made their hearts tremble. They did not have the time to care about the others. Not good. Run. This is that brat's trap. Shangguan Xian screamed, looking terrified. Chapter 904. The other level 3 venerables also cursed loudly. They wanted nothing more than to tear Lin Xian apart. Sensing the increasingly intense murderous aura, these people did not dare to stay any longer and quickly fled into the distance. However, they had still underestimated the power of the 10,000 beast ding. This was a complete Earth-grade artifact. How could these people resist it? In the next moment, the 10,000 beast ding bloomed with light and quickly grew larger, completely enveloping the entire space. Countless black lights crisscrossed and surrounded all the cultivators. Ah! In an instant, countless screams sounded like the howls of ghosts. However, not a single cultivator was able to escape. Lin Xian used the mysterious jade platform and teleported hundreds of miles away. When he appeared again, he immediately stabilized his body and quickly flew into the distance. A pair of wind and thunder wings appeared on his back. Mysterious patterns flickered on them. He flapped his wings and quickly flew through the air like a stream of light. After flying for a long time, he finally stopped and looked behind him. Extremely far away, black gas curled up like demonic clouds. It was extremely hazy, and it was impossible to see what was inside. Even from so far away, Lin Xian could still feel the terrifying aura. "Want to kill me? I'll let you enjoy your fear." Lin Xian's lips curled into a cold smile. He had seen how terrifying the 10,000 beasting was. Back then, it could even blast open the king's space, let alone those level 3 venerables. Retracting his gaze, Lin Xian came to a mountain peak and quickly sat down to recover. Previously, he had only used the blood sword secret technique to forcefully increase his battle strength. This secret technique had a certain limit, and the after effects were not small. Now that he was out of danger, he could properly recover. Sitting down cross-legged, Lin Xian circulated the longevity incantation, then took out various spirit pills, spirit wine, and natural treasures. He quickly swallowed them. Lin Xian had so many treasures that even level 4 venerables would blush if they saw them. Half a day later, he opened his eyes, and his body had recovered to its peak. This recovery speed was terrifying. If others saw it, their jaws would definitely drop. On one hand, it was because Lin Xian had so many natural treasures. On the other hand, the longevity incantation was shockingly powerful. Especially the endless vitality, it was a great help to Lin Xian. No matter how serious his injuries were, as long as Lin Xian was alive, he could quickly recover by circulating the longevity incantation. Withdrawing the technique, Lin Xian opened his eyes and looked into the distance. In the distance, the terrifying aura was still there, but it was much smaller than before. After calculating the time, Lin Xian felt that it was about time. Those third heaven venerables could not possibly resist for so long. His figure flashed like a phantom and he returned. After sprinting all the way, he finally returned to the original direction. Lin Xian was shocked to see the pitch-black cauldron in front of him. He had to admit that the 10,000 beast cauldron was too terrifying. Just the aura it emitted was enough to make him tremble slightly. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian activated the great dragon sword soul again and struck the mysterious small sword in his body. In the next moment, the mysterious small sword released a mysterious aura that carried with it an aura of desolation. Instantly, the 10,000 beast ding in the distance trembled and spun quickly. It turned into a black light and entered Lin Xian's body. It appeared in the mysterious small space again with a flash of light. Lin Xian was stunned. He had thought that it would take a lot of effort to subdue the 10,000 beast ding again. He did not expect it to be so simple. Moreover, it looked like the 10,000 beast ding could not wait to go in. It looked like the small sword was indeed mysterious. Even the 10,000 beast ding could not resist it. Lin Xian did not look into the reason. His figure flashed and he rushed forward. There, the ground cracked and shattered into countless pieces. Blood flowed, and countless weapon fragments and corpses were scattered everywhere. It was like a hellish hell. The ground was covered in blood. Not a single person survived. Thousands of martial artists and dozens of third-level venerables had all died here. Looking at this scene, Lin Xian's expression was cold. These people were here to kill him. If he was not ruthless, he would be killed. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian turned and left quickly. Ancient Path Town. This was the only way back to Senmu College. In this town there were a few young figures. There were 2 men and 2 women. They had extraordinary auras and were eye-catching. Naturally, they were Bingling and the others. They had already sent a signal to the college and were waiting here. This was the only way back to the college. If Lin Xian came back, he would definitely pass by here. Do you think Lin Xian will be fine? Dongfang Fenghuang was a little worried. He should be fine. Looking at junior brother Lin's last expression, he should not be throwing his life away. They had no choice. Facing so many people, they could not think of how Lin Xian could escape. Even with the mysterious jade platform, it would take a lot of energy to completely get rid of those people. A group of people waited anxiously. However, a day later, a young figure landed here. Lin Xian. Dongfang Fenghuang and the others had been paying close attention to the passers-by. When they saw the young figure, they immediately exclaimed, "You're fine. That's great." Dongfang Fenghuang cheered. Bingling and the others also rushed over. They were shocked when they saw the other party. On one hand, they were happy that Lin Xian could come back alive. On the other hand, they were shocked that Lin Xian could get rid of those people in such a short time. His strength was too terrifying. I really want to know how you got rid of those people. Bingling's beautiful eyes turned and stared at Lin Xian. Unless you have countless mysterious jade platforms. The mysterious jade platforms are very precious. It's good enough that I have 1 or 2. Lin Xian said with a smile. As for how he got rid of them, that was a secret. Seeing that Lin Xian smiled and did not say anything, Bingling did not ask further. After all, everyone had their secrets. The group gathered together to celebrate. Then they rested. The next day, they set off for Senmu College. 2 days later, they returned to Senmu College. Looking at the magnificent mountains and rivers and the scattered halls, Lin Xian and the others sighed in their hearts. Although the past few days were short, they had experienced many thrilling experiences. Now that they were back in the quiet college, it was a different feeling. After Lin Xian and the others entered Senmu College, they went straight to the mission hall. The mission hall was still bustling with people coming and going. The crystal light screen, which was hundreds of feet tall, emitted a faint light. On it was a message of the college's missions. Lin Xian and the others landed in front of the hall. Then they tidied their clothes and walked into the hall. After handing in the missions, we must rest well. Everyone cheered. The hall was even more crowded. There were disciples completing missions or handing in missions everywhere. There were crystal light platforms in the hall. There were all kinds of detailed information on them. Bingling led Lin Xian and the others through the main hall and into the depths of the palace. She had accepted a 4-star mission, so she was in the depths of the hall. "We're here," Bingling said. Then she took out a jade token and pressed it against the crystal light platform. Buzz, buzz! There was a sound that sounded like identity confirmation. Then the crystal light platform changed. Chapter 905. The news was confirmed, and soon Lin Xian and the others received their rewards. Everyone's faces were filled with joy. Lin Xian also checked the spirit tablet and found that there was indeed an extra 1 million spiritual value points. The others were also beaming with joy. They had all received generous rewards. It's worth it to take such a big risk. However, not long after Bingling handed over the mission, a middle-aged man quickly walked over. "Elder." Bingling greeted the middle-aged man respectfully. The others also hurriedly greeted him. "Yes, follow me." The middle-aged man turned around and walked inside. Finally, they arrived at a private room. "Are you saying that the treasure this time is not an ordinary treasure, but a king's treasure?" The middle-aged man frowned and said, "Yes." Bingling said, It is indeed a king's treasure, but the last king's rare treasure has disappeared. As long as one investigated carefully, they would know about this matter, so Bingling would not hide anything. All right, you have worked hard. In order to make up for the loophole in the mission information, each of you will be compensated with 100,000 spiritual value points. Thank you, Elder, Bingling and the others said. Lin Xian was also excited. 100,000 spiritual stones was not a small amount. Elder, we will take our leave. Bingling led Lin Xian and the others away. After they left, the middle-aged man revealed a thoughtful expression. Although Senma College was powerful, they could not ignore the king's treasure, especially the information they had just received. The king's rare treasure seemed to be very powerful, but it had disappeared for some reason. The middle-aged man did not suspect Bingling and the others at all. Such a rare treasure was not something a third-level venerable could obtain. Of course, if he knew that the so-called king's rare treasure was in Lin Xian's body, what kind of expression would he have? Lin Xian and the others walked out of the mission hall in a good mood. This time we must exchange for that thing. Yang Lin held the spirit tablet in his hand with an excited expression. Lin Xian also smiled and said, "Thank you, everyone. If there is anything you need in the future, just say the word." He was indeed very excited. With 1,000,000 spiritual value points, he was one step closer to the dragon blood. After chatting for a while, they went their separate ways. Yang Lin and the others wanted to go to the True Spirit Hall, while Lin Xian wanted to return to the freshman courtyard. After bidding farewell to everyone, Lin Xian transformed into a streak of sword light and flew off into the distance. Whoa! A sword light flashed and landed above the freshman area. Then, Lin Xian's figure appeared. Older brother Xian, young master Xian. Seeing that figure, many people stood up and shouted excitedly, "Let's celebrate today, then rest for 2 days." "I'll take you to a place," Lin Xian said with a smile. Very quickly, the people from the Dragon Sword Pavilion arrived. The current Dragon Sword Pavilion had close to 700 people. It could be said to be a large scale. After a night of revelry, everyone went back to rest. Lin Xian and Murong Qingcheng walked side by side to the courtyard. With a wave of his hand, Lin Xian entered the courtyard. Then he completely relaxed and fell into a deep sleep. He was too tired and needed a good rest. He slept all the way until the evening of the next day. Next, Lin Xian began to organize the spoils of war and consolidate his cultivation. The people of the Dragon Sword Pavilion also focused on their cultivation. After another 2 days, Lin Xian came out. He gathered the people of the Dragon Sword Pavilion and said in a clear voice, "What we need to do this time is very simple, and that is to take revenge. The Huang family of Wind-Seeking City has chased after me many times. What do you think we should do? F*TK. He dares to chase after older brother Xian. Kill him! Kill him!" The unified slogan rang out, shaking the heavens. Lin Xian looked at the scene in front of him and nodded slightly. There were many people chasing after him. The reason why he targeted the Huang family was because they had the Phoenix Blood Crimson Gold in their hands. This was what he wanted. Of course, Lin Xian would not let go of the other forces who had chased after him. Next, Lin Xian chose 200 Venerable Realm disciples to go together. "Let's go." With an order, the group quickly soared into the sky and flew into the distance. Wind-Seeking City, Huang family. In the past few days, the atmosphere in the Huang family was much more oppressive than before. Many people had solemn expressions and depressed hearts, casting a shadow over the entire Huang family. At this moment, many figures were gathered in a magnificent hall. Directly above, a purple-robed old man sat. He had a dignified face and a powerful aura emitted from his body. On both sides of him were other elders, but their expressions were incomparably solemn. "Patriarch, so many days have passed, But the people we sent out have not received any news at all, an elder said worriedly. That's right. Even if they don't succeed, they have to send back news. What about the other forces? The patriarch of the Huang family asked in a deep voice. We've sent people to investigate, but there's no news either. This time, it was a middle-aged man who spoke. Logically speaking, with so many experts moving out, there was no suspense at all in capturing a second-rank venerable, even if the other party had a half-Earth-rank artifact like the Lone Star Sword. However, after such a long time and with so many forces, there was no news at all. This was simply too strange. Send people to investigate again. If there's any news, report it immediately, the patriarch of the Huang family said. Yes. Everyone replied. However, before they could finish speaking, a shocking force suddenly appeared. It was as if a demonic mountain had enveloped the entire hall. Rumble. In an instant, the magnificent hall was blown to pieces, and the huge building turned into powder. The elders in the hall were even more frightened and tried their best to resist. Not only that, but the entire Huang family was also affected by the strong impact. The buildings near the hall all collapsed and the ground cracked. The entire Huang family was almost torn in half. Who is it? Countless people were frightened and rushed into the sky. However, as soon as they flew up, they were pressed down by a huge force and fell heavily to the ground. Some elders did not believe it and tried to attack, but they were also smashed to the ground and vomited blood. The people of the Huang family were shocked. When they looked at the sky, their pupils constricted and their hearts almost jumped out. In the sky there was a dark mass. Countless figures gathered like a demonic cloud enveloping the sky. A terrifying and powerful aura connected together, causing everyone to tremble. The aura was too powerful. Not to mention them, even a fourth-rank venerable would not be able to withstand it. Clan leader. A group of elders lay on the ground and looked at the clan leader with difficulty. The clan leader's mouth twitched, and his heart beat wildly. This was 2F** King terrifying. He could clearly sense that there were 200 venerable auras above. 200 of them. Not 2 and not 20. There were 200 of them. Even if they were all first-rank venerables, they would not be able to defeat them. Where did this force come from? Why did they find trouble with the Huang family? The elders of the Huang family were stunned. Although they were usually arrogant, they were not stupid enough to provoke people from such a terrifying force. This scene not only shocked the Huang family, but also the entire Windy City. Countless martial artists gathered in this direction, and their faces were filled with shock. This was too shocking. 200 venerables were enough to wipe out any force in Windy City. Who is this? How could they have such terrifying power? The Huang family is really unlucky. How dare they provoke such a force? Were they not courting death? Countless martial artists whispered. Due to the pressure, they could not get too close, but the distance could not stop their excitement. Chapter 906. The scene was too shocking. The commotion caused by 200 honorables gathering together was extremely terrifying. The Huang family patriarch said in a trembling voice, "May I ask who you are? Is there a misunderstanding?" The scene shocked everyone once again. If someone dared to cause trouble for the Huang family would not ask any questions and would kill the person immediately. But now their mansion had been destroyed, yet the Huang family patriarch was not angry at all. Instead, he asked humbly. The surrounding martial artists could not believe what they were seeing. Misunderstanding? What misunderstanding could there be? In the sky, a faint voice drifted over. Following that, a young voice walked out and looked down. "It's you." Seeing the figure, many of the Huang family elders' pupils shrank and their hearts trembled violently. The person was none other than their target, Lin Xian. But shouldn't they be being chased by countless experts? Why would they be here? Also, Why are there so many honorables behind him? The Huang family patriarch's face turned ugly. The fact that Lin Xian was here meant that their pursuit had failed. Moreover, there was no result after such a long time. Those people might have met with mishap. They were shocked and could not believe it. How could Lin Xian escape from so many people? Not only did the Huang family martial artists recognize Lin Xian, but the surrounding martial artists also recognized Lin Xian. Instantly, the news spread like a gust of wind. Lin Xian was the owner of a half-Earth rank artifact. Ordinary people were just excited when they heard the news. However, the major forces were shocked. They had sent people to kill Lin Xian. But now Lin Xian was alive and kicking? In an instant, the Lung family and the Vientiane auction could not sit still. At this moment, they had to join forces. Soon, countless martial artists took to the sky and headed towards the Huang family. Boom, boom, boom. The sky trembled as terrifying energy spread out in all directions. Martial artists from the other two families arrived and confronted Lin Xian and the rest. Seeing that there were reinforcements, the Huang family patriarch heaved a sigh of relief. If they were to face Lin Xian and the 200 honorables alone, they would not stand a chance. However, if the three families joined forces, it would be a different story. The three families were all powerful forces in the Windy City. If they joined forces, they would be able to fight against the other party. Lin Xian, it really is you. You didn't die. When the people from the Wanxiang auction and the Lung family saw this, their faces darkened. What's wrong? You guys seem very disappointed. Lin Xian's lips curled into a sneer. Today, we're mainly here to deal with the Huang family. If you're here to die, I don't mind taking your lives. Humph. Stop boasting. Even if you have a lot of people with you, our three families are not to be trifled with, the Lung family said. If you don't believe me, you can try. So, the Lung clan wants to make a move? Lin Xian asked. Of course, the three of us will advance and retreat together, the Lung clan replied. Really? Lin Xian coldly laughed, then said in a clear voice, People of the Dragon's Sword Pavilion, listen up. Yes, 200 people replied in unison, their voices shaking the 9 heavens. Just their voices alone were enough to make the surrounding martial artists fall to the ground. If the Lung clan dares to make a move, we'll give up on our enemies and kill the Lung clan with all our might. Leave no one alive. The cold voice resounded in the ears of the crowd. Countless people gasped in disbelief. The martial artists from the Lung clan stiffened and their faces turned ugly. This Lin Xian is too despicable. Originally, they were only here to provide assistance. However, this order pushed the Lung clan to the edge. They did not doubt Lin Xian's order at all. If they made a move, Lin Xian might really do that. At that time, the Huang family would be fine, but the Lung clan would be exterminated. Lunatic, he's a lunatic. For a moment, the Lung clan members were stunned. Humph, don't try to sow discord. The three of us will attack together. The elder of the Wanxiang auction roared. It's the same for the Wanxiang auction too. I'll give up on the Huang family and kill all of you with all my might until no one is left. Lin Xian's expression was cold and his body emitted a cold, murderous aura. Did these people really think that he was a pushover? They had tried to kill him time and time again. Now, he would let these people know the price of trying to kill him. Hearing this, the Huang family patriarch trembled with anger. Sow discord, this is blatant sow discord. If this goes on, the Huang family will be finished. In the next moment, he did not care about anything else and quickly said, The two of you, if the three of us attack together, won't this problem be solved? Attack together. We're not afraid of them. I've said it before. If anyone attacks, kill the Lung clan first until they're exterminated. Lin Xian said again. Hearing this, the martial artists from the Lung clan twitched. Many of the elders almost vomited blood. What is this? They were only here to provide assistance. Why is their clan about to be exterminated? The surrounding martial artists were also shocked. Isn't this too overbearing? But I like it. They had never seen someone as overbearing as Lin Xian. Now that they saw this scene, they were naturally excited, as if they had been injected with chicken blood. Lin Gongzi, we were wrong before. We'll go back and prepare gifts to apologize. Now goodbye. After the Lang clan patriarch finished speaking, he left with a group of experts without looking back. They left? Just like that? The surrounding martial artists were stunned. The Huang family members were even more stunned. This was a powerful helper. However, he was scared away by just a few words from Lin Xian. A sense of despair rose in the hearts of the Huang family martial artists. However, they still had the Vientiane auction. However, in the next moment, Lin Xian's gaze shifted to the Vientiane auction. Instantly, the people who looked at the Vientiane auction were shocked, and their faces stiffened. Now that the Lang clan had left, if Lin Xian wanted to deal with them, it would be much easier than before. However, they could not guarantee that the Huang family would go all out if they really attacked. If the Huang family members ran away, they would be in big trouble. The elder of the Vientiane auction twitched slightly. Lin Gongzi is really capable. I'm impressed. Since this is a matter between you and the Huang family, how can we interfere? Men, let's go. The elder waved his hand and left with the martial artists. He had already thought it through. Once he returned, he would report to his superiors and ask for help. Then, even if the other party came looking for trouble, he would not be afraid. Elder Gua, you can't leave us in the lurch. Seeing that the elder of the Vientiane auction had left, the Huang family martial artists panicked. The Huang family patriarch shouted loudly, but it was to no avail. Now, should we talk about the matter between us? Lin Xian looked down again. Hearing this, the Huang family martial artists trembled and their eyes were filled with fear. Talk? How? They could not beat him or run away. They were like lambs waiting to be slaughtered. Moreover, they had chased after him more than once. How could he let them go now? Young Master Lin, this is a misunderstanding. This is a misunderstanding. The Huang family patriarch squeezed out an ugly smile. Young Master Lin, what compensation do you want? Our Huang family will definitely satisfy you. Compensation? Satisfy? Hearing this, Lin Xian laughed. Chapter 907. Lin Xian smirked coldly as he looked down at the Huang family. I heard that the Huang family's great elder obtained a piece of phoenix blood gold a few days ago. Is that true? Hearing this, the Huang family's patriarch quickly turned around and stared at the great elder. The great elder's body trembled, and he revealed an ugly expression. He did obtain a piece of phoenix blood gold and wanted to use it to forge an armor, but he had not done so yet. Listening to Lin Xian's words, he seemed to be very interested in the phoenix blood gold. Although he had spent a lot of money to buy it, and it was painful to give it away for the family, he endured it. Soon, the Huang family's great elder laughed dryly. Young Master Lin, good news. I did obtain a piece of phoenix blood gold. If young Master Lin likes it, you can have it. After saying that, he took out a piece of blood-red metal. Looking at the metal, Lin Xian smiled. Yes, it is indeed phoenix blood gold. With a grab, the phoenix blood gold floated to Lin Xian and was quickly grasped in his hand. As he truly felt the crimson phoenix blood gold, Lin Xian revealed a satisfied smile. He had finally obtained this treasure. Seeing Lin Xian smile, the Huang family's great elder breathed a sigh of relief. Although it was painful, it was worth it for the family. At this time, the Huang family's patriarch asked softly, "Since young Master Lin has obtained it, can you let us go? At least let the 200 friends withdraw their pressure." They were too sullen. The pressure from the 200 venerables in the sky was extremely terrifying, and it was specifically targeted at the Huang family. Until now, Everyone was lying on the ground in a sorry state. Even if they did not die today, it would not be long before they became the laughingstock of the entire wind-seeking city. Hearing this, Lin Xian sneered again. What? Does the Huang family's patriarch think that a piece of phoenix blood gold can solve the problem? Or do you think that my life is only worth a piece of phoenix blood gold? Seeing Lin Xian's darkened face, the Huang family's patriarch's eyelids twitched. No, of course not. Young Master Lin's body is priceless. How can a piece of phoenix blood gold compare to it? The patriarch of the Huang family quickly flattered. Very good. You've all admitted that my life is worth more than a piece of phoenix blood scarlet gold. That makes things easier, Lin Xian said. Speaking of which, you've chased after me 3 times, right? Do you really think I'm easy to bully? It's a misunderstanding. The head of the Huang family felt that he had flattered the wrong person. Just as he was about to explain, Lin Xian coldly interrupted him. There's no misunderstanding. Since you've done something, you have to pay the price. You have 2 choices. First, cripple the cultivation of all those above the Exalt realm, and I can spare your lives. 2, you can choose not to cripple your cultivation and fight against my 200 venerables. You can imagine the result. Lin Xian's words reverberated in the air, carrying a murderous aura. Hearing this, the martial artists in the distance were shocked. Sure enough, the other party had brought so many people, and it wasn't just for a piece of phoenix blood crimson gold. When the members of the Huang family heard this, their faces turned ugly. It was as if they had eaten a dead rat. They were too naive. How could a mere piece of metal settle the grudge of being hunted down? However, they couldn't accept the other party's 2 requests. The first request was that if all the venerables were to cripple their cultivation, the Huang family would become a dog without claws and teeth. By then, their enemies would never let them go. Moreover, the Huang family had a lot of resources in Wind-Seeking City. By then, the other 2 families wouldn't let them go. However, if they didn't cripple their cultivation, what awaited them was the destruction of their family. Although the Huang family was one of the 3 major forces in Wind-Seeking City, they had no way of resisting against 200 venerables. The other party could even kill them without much effort. At the very least, they couldn't even resist the pressure of the 200 venerables. Both choices led to death. However, the second choice was to die immediately. If they were lucky, they could still escape from the first choice. The head of the Wang family had an ugly look on his face. His choice was very important, as it concerned whether the family would be destroyed immediately. Moreover, judging from Lin Xian's expression, there was no room for negotiation. He was filled with regret. Why did he provoke the other party in the first place? Now he had brought about the destruction of his family. However, there was no use in regretting. Some things had to be paid for. You only have 5 breaths of time to consider, Lin Xian said coldly. If you don't make a decision after 5 breaths, I'll take it as you choosing the second choice. 5, 4, 3, 2. I choose the first choice. In the end, the head of the Huang family gritted his teeth and said. After saying this, his entire body collapsed onto the ground as if it had been drained of all energy. Very well, let's begin, Lin Xian said coldly. Dong Fong. Wait, can I do it myself? Suddenly, the head of the Huang family crawled up and asked quickly. I didn't expect the head of the Huang family to have such a hobby. Very well, you can do it yourself. Hearing that, the head of the Huang family took a deep breath and stood up slowly. His face was ferocious, and his eyes were filled with terror as he walked towards the Huang family. Depressing, extremely depressing. The martial artists of the Huang family trembled with despair in their eyes. They knew that it was useless even if they risked their lives. Plop. The first to be crippled was the great elder of the Huang family. His dantian suffered a heavy blow. At the same time, He screamed and fell to the ground powerlessly. Seeing that, countless people gasped. It seemed that all of this was real. The martial artists of the Huang family felt their scalps go numb. They did not expect the head of the Huang family to be so decisive. There was no hesitation in his expression. It was as if the one being crippled was not the Huang family's martial artist. Terrifying, too terrifying. The disciples of the Huang family would never forget this scene for the rest of their lives. Then, one by one, the elders screamed and fell to the ground. Behind them were the martial artists of the younger generation. Looking at the honorables of the younger generation, the head of the Huang family revealed a strange light in his eyes. These were the geniuses of the Huang family, the hope of the future. In the next moment, his palms trembled slightly. His eyes flickered, and he quickly attacked. His back was facing Lin Xian and the rest, so no one could see his expression. Bang! The young man of the Huang family fell to the ground and screamed. However, Lin Xian snorted and frowned. Humph! The head of the Huang family is really something. Lin Xian snorted. He bent his finger and flicked a sharp sword wave. It instantly pierced through the young man of the Huang family. A bloody hole appeared between the young man's eyebrows. He fell to the ground powerlessly, his eyes filled with fear and unwillingness. Seeing that, everyone was stunned. The martial artists of the Huang family roared crazily. Why? We have already crippled his cultivation. Why do you still want to kill him? Crippled his cultivation? What a joke! Do you think he really crippled his cultivation? Lin Xian asked coldly. Hearing that, everyone was shocked. However, the face of the head of the Huang family became extremely ugly. Chapter 908. His eyes were filled with shock. He had indeed done something and did not cripple the young man's cultivation. He had done it very secretly, but he did not expect the other party to see through it. In the next moment, a huge fear rose in his heart. The young man above was definitely more terrifying than he had imagined. Their Huang family was really an idiot to provoke such an opponent. I didn't kill so many of you. Why did I only kill him? You don't understand, but I think Patriarch Huang should understand very well. Don't play tricks in front of me. Otherwise, it won't be just one person who dies. Lin Xian said coldly. Hearing that, the Huang family patriarch's body trembled, and his forehead was covered in cold sweat. There were so many people in the Huang family, and there were dozens of venerables. Among them, most of them were old monsters, and a small number were young people. As for those elders, he had indeed crippled their cultivation. However, those young people were different. He had only sealed their cultivation, and they could be unsealed at any time in the future. Those young people were the hope of the Huang family. As long as they escaped this disaster, they would soon rise again. The method he used was very special. If one did not investigate carefully, they would not have noticed it at all. That was also the reason why he had to do it himself. However, all of his plans were seen through by Lin Xian at a glance. That made him extremely terrified. Hearing Lin Xian's warning, the Huang family patriarch quickly said, "Young Master Lin, don't worry. I won't play any tricks again." Not long after, screams sounded in the Huang family mansion. One after another, it made one's scalp tingle. A total of 43 venerables had their cultivation crippled. All 43 of the Huang family's venerables had their cultivation crippled. Lin Xian did not feel any pity. These people deserved it. If it were not for his strength, he would have been killed by these people. Now, he only crippled their cultivation. The Huang family mansion was filled with screams. When the Huang family patriarch saw this, his body trembled. He knew that the Huang family was finished. In the next moment, Lin Xian flicked out another sword wave and fiercely bombarded the Huang family patriarch's dantian, breaking his spiritual sea. "Let's go." Then he waved his hand and left with 200 venerables. The surrounding martial artists were all shocked. They held their breaths and looked towards the sky. They wanted to know where Lin Xian would go next. From the previous conversation, they knew that Lin Xian was here to take revenge for being hunted down. The Huang clan was not the only one hunting him down. The Lung clan and the Wanshan auction were also involved. He just didn't know which family Lin Xian was going to attack. The void fluctuated and trembled intensely, as if it couldn't withstand this wave of power. 200 supreme experts rampaged through the air, and a terrifying pressure swept out in all directions. That direction? It's the Wanxiang auction. Seeing the trajectory of Lin Xian and the others in the sky, the martial artists below were shocked and cried out in surprise. Originally, they thought that Lin Xian would attack the Lung clan, but they did not expect him to attack the Wanxiang auction first. One had to know that the Lung clan's strength was on par with the Huang clan. There was no way they could resist. However, the Wanxiang auction was different. Not only was it an auction house, it also had a powerful force behind it. Their strength was much stronger than the Lung clan and the Huang clan. No one expected Lin Xian to ignore the Lung clan and attack the powerful Wanxiang auction directly. The scene was too spectacular. 200 supreme experts in the sky walked through the air with a terrifying pressure, and the martial artists below followed them like a flood. Soon, the crowd arrived near the Wanxiang auction. The people of the Wanxiang auction naturally saw the scene, and their faces instantly turned gloomy. Countless martial artists quickly gathered together and formed a force to fight against the 200 supreme experts in the sky. However, although they were powerful, they could not gather 200 supreme experts in a short period of time. Hence, when the two forces collided, the martial artists of the Wanxiang auction were all sent flying and vomited blood. Seeing this scene, the surrounding martial artists were shocked. Lin Xian was too powerful. Even the powerful Wanxiang auction could not resist him. At this moment, an old man in a red robe flew out from the auction house and shouted coldly, "Thief, don't be so arrogant!" Arrogant? Am I arrogant? Why didn't you think I was arrogant when you chased after me several times? Why didn't you think you were arrogant when you snatched the Lone Star sword from me? Now that you're here, you can't take it anymore and feel aggrieved. Lin Xian sneered. Let me tell you, I'm going to be arrogant today. Lin Xian's voice was cold, and it turned into countless sword qi that was extremely sharp, sweeping across the area. Bang! Even the old man in the red robe was forced back a few steps, his face full of shock. He did not expect Lin Xian's strength to be so terrifying and much stronger than before. In fact, this was normal. Lin Xian had been through life and death battles these days, and these battles were the best at stimulating a martial artist's strength. If his strength did not increase, then it would be unreasonable. Kid, I admit that you're very powerful, and the force you brought is also very powerful. However, compared to our auction house, you're nothing. The old man in the red robe held his chest and said coldly, "Although you can fight your way into the Wanxiang auction today, I want to tell you that we have a terrifying force behind us, and you can't fight against it. Even now, you're still threatening me. Do you think I'll believe you?" Lin Xian sneered and looked down. "Whether you believe it or not, I want to tell you that we're Prince Ling Feng's men. Prince Ling Feng." Hearing this, the crowd trembled violently. Prince Ling Feng was one of the 4 princes of the Tianwu continent. He was a true peerless genius. Regardless of strength, identity, or status, he was superior to everyone else. This kind of person was an existence that countless martial artists looked up to. Although the crowd had guessed countless times that the Wanxiang auction was related to Prince Ling Feng, they did not have any evidence. This was the first time that the Wanxiang auction had publicly announced that they were Prince Ling Feng's subordinate force. Many people started to worry for Lin Xian. Prince Ling Feng was a transcendent figure, and he was not someone that 200 honorable realm experts could fight against. It would be impossible for him to touch the Wanxiang auction. Hearing the crowd's discussion, the red-robed elder laughed maniacally. "Kid, did you hear that? Kneel down and apologize now, and I might spare your life. Otherwise, if you anger us, you won't be able to bear the consequences." Who was Prince Ling Feng? He was one of the most powerful people in the younger generation of the continent. Even if it was his subordinate force, he was not someone that anyone could provoke. Therefore, the red-robed elder believed that as long as he mentioned Prince Ling Feng's name, Lin Xian would definitely kneel down and kowtow in fear. However, in the next moment he was dumbfounded. Lin Xian was not as afraid as he had imagined. Instead, he revealed a mocking expression. "Are you done?" Lin Xian sneered. "Yes, I'm done. So are you afraid now?" The red-robed elder's expression was ferocious. "If you're done, then die." Lin Xian's expression was cold. With a wave of his hand, the 200 honorable realm experts behind him released a terrifying force, forming a giant fist that smashed downwards. Chapter 909. What? The red-robed old man was stunned. He did not expect Lin Xian to attack so decisively after mentioning Prince Ling Feng's name. Lin Xian was looking down on Prince Ling Feng. The surrounding cultivators felt their eyelids twitching. This was too shocking. Even Prince Ling Feng was looking down on him. This Lin Xian was too arrogant. "Kid, you are dead meat. How dare you attack us? Prince Ling Feng will not forgive you." The red-robed old man screamed. However, his figure did not stop as he quickly flew to the side. What a joke! How could he resist the attack of 200 martial highnesses? Not only him. All the cultivators in the Wanxiang auction house fled in all directions like frightened rabbits. With a heaven-shaking strike, the majestic hall was reduced to ashes. The scene was too shocking. A moment ago, it was a landmark of wind-seeking city. However, in the blink of an eye, it had been flattened. No, nothing was left. Upon seeing this, the red-robed old man's eyelids twitched. It seemed like Lin Xian had really attacked. Originally, he thought that Lin Xian would be afraid, and at the very least he would stop and retreat. Despite that, he did not expect the man to destroy the Wanxiang auction house with a single punch without any hesitation. Such decisiveness caused the red-robed old man's heart to beat rapidly. In the sky, 200 martial highnesses attacked, forming rays of light that covered the sky as they charged toward the Wanxiang auction house. Upon seeing this, the surrounding cultivators were shocked and swallowed their saliva. How was this a battle? This was a one-sided massacre. Humph! Which scoundrel are you? Stop! Just as the people of the Wanxiang auction house were in despair, a thunderous snort could be heard. Following this, dozens of figures flew toward the auction house from afar like phantoms. These people had powerful auras. Many of them were third-layer martial highnesses. Their expressions were cold as they looked down on everything. However, when they arrived near the Wanxiang auction house, they were still shocked. The presence of 200 martial highnesses was no joke. "Master Lu, you are finally here." When the red-robed old man saw those people, he immediately cried out in joy. He led the people from the Wanxiang auction house and quickly gathered around those men in black. "Brat, you dare to touch young Master Ling Feng's people. You have guts." Lord Lu said coldly, "Don't say such useless things. No matter who comes today, the Wanxiang auction will be destroyed." Lin Xian's voice was sonorous, carrying an unquestionable tone. This attitude caused the newly arrived black-clothed martial artists' eyelids to twitch wildly. What an arrogant brat! They had never seen anyone who dared to disrespect Prince Ling Feng. "Brat, you've destroyed the Wanxiang auction, but you can't kill these people. I'm bringing them back. Do you think I won't kill him just because you said so?" Who do you think you are? Why didn't you say anything when I was hunting you down? Lin Xian was also furious. Leave none of these people alive. He was indeed angry. These people were so resolute when they tried to kill him. Now that they couldn't beat him, they wanted to retreat safely? How could there be such an easy thing in the world? Hearing this, Official Lu's eyelids twitched wildly. Lunatic! This is AF * King Lunatic. In the next moment, he saw countless honorable martial artists swarming towards them. This was a battle without any suspense. Even if the Wanxiang auction had reinforcements, the outcome could not be changed. Not long after, the people of the Wanxiang auction were all killed. The martial artists that Official Lu brought were also covered in scars. Let's go. Official Lu roared angrily and led the remaining people to escape quickly like stray dogs. Brother Xian, should we chase after them and kill them? Wang Li asked from the side. Forget it. We're only dealing with the Wanxiang auction. Let's not touch the others for now. Then the 200 people cleaned up the battlefield and gathered together again. Lin Xian waved his arm and a sword light flickered at the tip of his finger. The sword chi crisscrossed and carved the words Immortal Martial Auction on the ruins of the Wanxiang auction. Seeing this scene, the crowd's hearts beat wildly. It seemed that the other party did not intend to stop here. Brother Xian, this is... Dongfang Xiong scratched his head and asked, It's nothing. The Wanxiang auction is no longer here, but our auction will be built here. Immortal Martial Auction. Everyone was shocked. Lin Xian actually wanted to build an auction and use the name Immortal Martial Auction. This was thought-provoking. Was it his own idea, or was it Senma College's idea? If it was Lin Xian's idea, then it would be easy to handle. However, if it was Senmu College's idea, then it would be disastrous. Even if the Wanxiang auction was destroyed, they would not be able to get back at them. One had to know that although Prince Lingfeng was powerful, it was only limited to the younger generation. Senma College was the real overlord, unless Prince Lingfeng used the power of the Palace of Ares. Hearing that Lin Xian wanted to build an auction, the members of the Dragon Sword Pavilion were also excited. If it was really built, then it would be very beneficial to them. Let's go to the Lung clan. Lin Xian did not waste any time and led everyone to the Lung clan. The Lung clan had been waiting for a long time. They knew very well that the Huang clan was from the Wanxiang auction. The more they knew, the more afraid they were. The Lung clan was weaker than the Wanxiang auction and was only on par with the Huang clan. However, the most powerful Wanxiang auction had been razed to the ground, and no one had escaped. This made them tremble in fear. After thinking about it, they decided that they could only save their lives by using the Huang clan's method. Unlike the Huang clan, they still had time to save their clansmen. At this moment, only the Venerables were left in the Lung clan. The martial artists below the Venerable realm had already been transferred. They were not here for revenge, but for the continuation of their clan. Not only that, but there were also mountains of treasures in front of them. They're here, they're here. An elder of the Lung clan looked at the sky and said with a trembling voice. Then everyone from the Lung clan looked up into the sky and saw countless people flying over. They were like dark clouds. In the next moment, the dark cloud stopped and a handsome figure walked out from the crowd. This figure was naturally Lin Xian. He looked down and squinted his eyes. Are you all ready? Yes. All the Venerables of the Lung clan are here. Lin Xian nodded. There were only these people left in the Lung clan, which meant that all the martial artists below the Venerable realm had left. Lin Xian did not care about this. He flicked his finger, and countless rays of sword chi rushed out like real dragons and rushed down. The martial artists of the Lung clan did not dare to resist. They could only watch as the sword chi rushed into their dantian and destroyed their spiritual seas. After doing this, Lin Xian waved his sleeve and took away the mountains of treasures. Then he led the crowd and left. Looking at the leaving figures, the the martial artists in the city had complicated expressions. They did not expect the three major factions of the Windy City to be destroyed in a single day. Furthermore, the person who did this was a second venerable realm. This was crazy and shocking. Windy City would not be peaceful in the future. Chapter 910. Lin Xian left Wenfeng City with 200 honorable ones. He didn't return to Senmu College directly. Instead, he went to Feihu City. Feihu City and Qingyan City used to belong to the Azure Red Society, but they were taken over by Lin Xian not long ago. The other party wouldn't let it go so easily, and he was here to solve this problem. The gathering of 200 honorable ones caused a huge commotion. Countless warriors in Feihu City looked at this scene in horror and couldn't help but want to kneel down. At this moment, Nangong Shen, Marulong, and the others quickly came out of Feihu City. When they saw the figure above, they shouted excitedly, "Brother Xian!" "Brother Ma, Brother Nangong, long time no see. How have you been?" Lin Xian greeted them with a smile. He had sent people to pick up these two people from the Sand region. They had been in Feihu City for some time now. Lin Xian thought that the Sand region was too remote, so it was better to focus on developing in the Blood region. Moreover, he also wanted to move the Sand region's battle arena to the Blood region. That was why he brought Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong here. Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong estimated that the people from the Azure Red Society would come over in a few days. In a few days? All right, I'll stay here for a few days, Lin Xian said indifferently. Then he brought 200 people to stay in Feihu City. The people from the Azure Red Society were furious. 2 of their cities had been taken away by someone. This was not giving them any face at all. This was a provocation. The Azure Red Society had never encountered such a situation before. However, due to the incident at the Wanxiang auction, they didn't take action immediately. Instead, they waited until now. Soon, the Azure Red Society sent out an elite team led by 5 third-rank honorable ones, 22nd-rank honorable ones, and countless members. The group of people set off towards Feihu City. They were determined to take back the city. This team was already very terrifying. To them, it was as easy as flipping their hand to kill the other party. The Red Flower Emissary was the leader of this operation. At the same time, he was also a third-rank honorable one and was very powerful. He was furious that someone dared to rob the Flying Tiger City. At the same time, he sneered in his heart. This time, he would definitely kill the other party and let everyone know that the Azure Red Society was not to be trifled with. After a long journey, Safflower Emissary and the others finally arrived at Flying Tiger City. Looking at the city below, Safflower Emissary sneered. Then he circulated his spirit chi and shouted, "Who is it? How dare you go against our Azure Red Gang? Come out now and accept your death." This voice contained the might of a rank 3 honorable realm cultivator, and it was extremely mighty as it charged downwards. He sneered in his heart. The strongest cultivator in Flying Tiger City was only a 2nd stage venerated martial artist. A 3rd stage venerated martial artist would definitely be an overlord here. He was afraid that this shout would scare the other party to death. Hearing this terrifying sound, the martial artists in the city trembled. But their expressions were extremely strange. There was even a hint of sympathy in his expression. They personally saw 200 supreme experts descend a few days ago. That scene was terrifying, something they would never forget for the rest of their lives. The terrifying voice was like thunder and it rolled out. However, there was actually no change below, and no one even came out. Seeing this scene, Safflower Emissary's face darkened. He snorted coldly and was about to lead his men to attack. However, at this moment, an indifferent voice drifted over. "You're from the Azure Red Gang? Why are there so few of you here?" This voice was ethereal with a trace of disdain. "So few of you?" Safflower Emissary was stunned. He had brought a total of 50 to 60 people. Among them, there were 5 third-stage venerated martial artists, 22nd stage venerated martial artists, and the rest were first-stage venerated martial artists and spirit-detecting martial artists. This kind of strength was absolutely terrifying. Taking down Flying Tiger City was not a problem at all. In fact, Safflower Emissary even felt that he could easily take down Flying Tiger City as long as he sent a third-stage venerated martial artist. The reason why they had sent so many people this time was to show the outside world the strength of their Azure Red Gang. They would not allow others to provoke them. However, at this moment, they were actually being called weak. How could they tolerate this? You're courting death. Third brother, go down and kill everyone. Safflower Emissary said coldly. Soon, a skinny middle-aged man walked out. He also exuded the aura of a third-stage venerated martial artist, and it was extremely fierce. This middle-aged man sneered and quickly charged down. Safflower Emissary and the rest waited with cold smiles. In their opinion, it would only take a few breaths of time to finish off the people below. Bang! Suddenly, a low sound was heard. Then, a black figure flew out like a rubber ball. Everywhere it passed, blood splattered. It was extremely dazzling. Third brother? How is this possible? The Azure Red Gang members were stunned, and Safflower Emissary screamed. He did not expect that the injured person who flew back was actually one of their own. However, how was this possible? Third brother was a third-stage venerated martial artist, and he was extremely powerful. Even a martial artist of the same level could not injure him in an instant. Who exactly was down there? It was actually so terrifying. Could it be a fourth-stage venerated martial artist? Safflower Emissary was shocked and doubtful. However, he quickly rejected this thought. If it was really a fourth-stage venerated martial artist, he would probably be able to finish them off with just his aura. Safflower Emissary's face was gloomy, and he said in a low voice, "Everyone listen up! Charge with me!" He was indeed furious. His man had been injured in front of so many people. This was undoubtedly a disgrace to the Azure Red Gang. This time, they were here to regain their dignity. Hence, without any hesitation, Safflower Emissary led a group of martial artists and charged down. Buzz! The void was mercilessly torn apart, and a terrifying aura spread out. The martial artists below trembled and fled. Third brother, who had been injured, followed them. However, his face was extremely ugly because he had not seen the other party clearly when he went down just now. He had been thrown out by a huge force. It was too humiliating. As a third-stage venerated martial artist, he had never encountered such a situation before. Hence, this time he followed the main group down. He had to take revenge. Competing in numbers? Do you think you can compete? The disdainful voice was heard again. Then a terrifying aura surged out like a volcanic eruption. It suddenly rushed out and turned into a huge wave that surged towards the Azure Red Gang. Bang! The two forces collided, and the sound was deafening. The entire void was drowned, and the turbulence surged, blowing the surrounding buildings away. In the next moment, Safflower Emissary and the other members of the Azure Red Gang were shocked. They felt that what was surging towards them was not an air current, but a primordial demon mountain. It was too terrifying. It directly hit them. They could not resist the powerful force at all. Boom! In the next moment, all the martial artists of the Azure Red Gang vomited blood and were sent flying. What? This is impossible. Safflower Emissary flew back a few hundred feet before he could stabilize himself. He was shocked. He was crazy. He was really going crazy. He had brought so many people with him, and it was enough to crush everything. However, he was mercilessly sent flying back. In the face of such a huge force, they had no ability to resist at all. In fact, he did not even see who the other party was. Chapter 911. Red Flower Emissary and the others were terrified because they'd never seen such a thing before. Who exactly are they? They're so terrifying. At this moment, countless cultivators from the Azure Red Society racked their brains, but they couldn't figure it out. However, in the next moment, they screamed as their bodies stiffened, and they almost fell from the sky. People, they were all people. There was a black mass in front of them, and every single one of them had an extremely powerful aura. All of them had reached the Venerable Realm. So many Venerable Realm cultivators joined together like a demonic cloud that suppressed the sky. The terrifying aura condensed together like a primeval demonic mountain was unattainable. Venerable Realm cultivators. 200 Venerable Realm cultivators. Red Flower Emissary and the others were quite knowledgeable, and they instantly saw the number of people. However, their hearts trembled violently right after that. 200 Venerable Realm cultivators, and most of them were second-level Venerable Realm cultivators. What kind of force was this? They didn't hesitate to say that it would be extremely easy for these people to kill them. Even though they had 5 third-level Venerable Realm cultivators, how many could a third-level Venerable Realm cultivator resist? 10 people? 20 people? 30 people? There were 200 people on the other side. They could probably crush them to death with their numbers alone. Unless a 4th-level Venerable Realm cultivator came, they had no chance of winning. You're from the Azure Red Society? Lin Xian stepped into the air and looked coldly at them. What? It's you. Red Flower Emissary's pupils constricted, and he was shocked. He looked at the young man before him with great shock in his heart. He'd seen this young man before. Even 2 months ago, he'd captured him in Soaring Tiger City. However, he'd let that young man escape at that time. At that time, he didn't take it seriously at all. After all, that young man was just a kid who'd just entered the Venerable Realm. However, he'd appeared again now, and he'd brought 200 Venerable Realm cultivators with him. He couldn't believe it. Lin Xian naturally recognized them as well, but he didn't say anything and just asked indifferently, "Oh, may I know why you're here?" "No, it's nothing. We're just passing by. We've really offended you this time, so we'll leave immediately." Red Flower Emissary's attitude was extremely humble, and he didn't put on any airs at all. After he finished speaking, he waved his hand and left with those people without looking back. Originally, they came to conquer the Flying Tiger City, but they didn't dare to say anything in this situation. If they did, they would be beaten to death in minutes. Looking at the fleeing figures, Lin Xian sneered. 2 months ago, he couldn't beat them, but now they could only take a detour when they saw him. They didn't even dare to speak loudly. However, at least the other party was tactful enough to not make a move. Otherwise, the one who would have died would have been the other party. The people he brought with him were not ordinary venerables. They were all geniuses from Senmu College. These people had the strength to challenge those of a higher level. It would be too easy for them to deal with the Cyan Red Society. Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong burst into laughter. With Lin Xian's protection, they would be able to develop rapidly in Flying Tiger City and Green Rock City. The leader of the Azure Red Society, Lu Qing, was a 4th-rank Venerable Realm cultivator. With such strength, he could be considered an overlord. When he heard the message that Safflower Emissary brought back, his face instantly darkened. A 200-life Venerable Realm cultivator was definitely a powerful force. Even he would have to expend a lot of effort. Moreover, someone who could bring out so many venerables must have an extraordinary background. There was no need for him to take this risk and fight with the other party. It was just 2 cities. At most, he would give them up. After all, the Blood Realm was so big, there would be plenty of opportunities to get cities. Therefore, he ordered everyone not to stir up trouble. Hearing this order, Safflower Emissary heaved a sigh of relief. To be honest, he really didn't want to go to Flying Tiger City. It was too terrifying. He was traumatized. After staying for a few more days, Lin Xian realized that the people from the Azure Red Society didn't come again. He knew that this matter was resolved. After leaving some resources and spirit stones, Lin Xian prepared to leave with his people. These two cities would become one of his bases. Ma Rulong and Nan Gongseng would develop them. Usually, the disciples of Senma College would come to help to ensure the safety of these places. Lin Xian wasn't worried about leaving the matters of the cities to Nan Gongseng and the others. Moreover, he didn't have the energy to manage these things. He just needed to control the general direction. After everything was settled, Lin Xian brought his people back to Senmu College. Along the way, the members of the Dragon Sword Pavilion were very excited. Lin Xian's strength was too shocking. First, he destroyed the 3 major forces in Windy City. Then he scared away the people from the Azure Red Society. Very few people in the younger generation could achieve this kind of power. Moreover, after a few days of hard work, Flying Tiger City and Green Rock City had completely become their territory. Not only that, but there would also be a celestial martial auction in Windy City. These were all powerful resources. The members of the Dragon Sword Pavilion were very excited because they could use these resources. After returning to Senmu College, the crowd dispersed. Lin Xian also flew to his courtyard. However, he was stunned when he entered the courtyard because he noticed that there was actually a figure standing in the courtyard. Lin Xian frowned. His courtyard was protected by a formation. However, at this moment, someone was able to break through his formation. He couldn't help but be surprised. Before Lin Xian could open his mouth to ask, the figure had already turned around and stared at Lin Xian coldly. It was a very handsome young man. His eyebrows were sharp and his eyes were sharp. His figure was tall and straight, and he had a sharp aura. "You are Lin Xian?" the young man asked calmly. "I am Lin Xian. Who are you?" "It's not good to barge into a courtyard. I'm here to tell you to stay away from Murong Qingqing. I don't need you to care about what I do I?" Lin Xian's face darkened when he heard the other party's domineering tone. "It's not a matter of whether I care or not. You are not worthy of her," the handsome young man said arrogantly. "I don't need you to worry about whether I'm worthy or not. If you want to pursue Murong Qingqing, go ahead. There's no need to feel superior to me," Lin Xian said coldly. He yearned for freedom and hated such a commanding tone. However, the handsome young man was not angry at all. Instead, he said calmly, "You are indeed as arrogant as the rumors say. However, you don't have the right to be arrogant in front of me. You can't even compare to me. What right do you have to pursue Murong Qingqing? You? Who are you?" Lin Xian frowned. Up until now, he had no idea who the other party was. "Li Yunfei. You should have heard of this name before. Li Yunfei." Lin Xian's heart was beating wildly, and a look of shock appeared on his face. Of course, he had heard of this name before. In fact, he was very familiar with it. However, he had never met the person in person. He had not expected the handsome young man in front of him to be Li Yunfei. He was ranked second on the Mystic Sovereign leaderboard. Chapter 912. "It seems like you already know who I am," Li Yunfei said calmly. "You'd better listen to my warning. Otherwise, you'll look bad in the future." As soon as he finished speaking, he didn't wait for Lin Xian to react before his figure flashed and instantly vanished from the courtyard like a wisp of smoke. Looking at the disappearing figure, Lin Xian's face darkened. He did not expect the second place on the Mystic Sovereign leaderboard to warn him. That was a blatant threat. However, Lin Xian was born with a rebellious nature. The more he was not allowed to do something, the more he would do it. "Li Yunfei, second place on the Mystic Sovereign leaderboard? One day I'll surpass you." Lin Xian clenched his fists. He was not boasting. He was confident. He had the great dragon sword soul, an offensive saint technique. As long as he was given time, he could surpass everyone. Then he rubbed his forehead and looked at the courtyard beside him. He felt helpless. She was indeed a peerless beauty. She really knew how to cause trouble. It was not that there were no suitors for Morong Qingcheng, such as Yan Qingyang. However, Lin Xian did not take them to heart. Now, even the second place on the Mystic Sovereign leaderboard had appeared. It seemed that he had underestimated Morong Qingcheng's attractiveness. Rubbing his face, Lin Xian did not think about it anymore. Instead, he strode into the room. He raised his hand and formed a restriction. Then he sat down cross-legged. First, he meditated for a while to adjust his body to its peak state. Then he flipped his palm and a crystal skull appeared in his hand. Its surface was smooth and flowed, emitting a sparkling light. If one were to sense it carefully, they would be able to sense a hidden pressure. Lin Xian used his soul power to probe it a few times. Then he frowned slightly. He realized that the crystal skull seemed to contain a powerful force. However, the energy was very blurry and he could not figure it out. Lin Xian was very curious about the crystal skull. Firstly, it seemed to be related to the 10,000 beast ding. Secondly, according to the Crimson Dragon, the crystal skull was most likely the head of the Niwa of Gojoseon. The Niwa of Gojoseon was a king. If this crystal skull was really the skull of a king, then its value would be too great. Until now, no one had heard of anyone obtaining the corpse of a king. Lin Xian took a deep breath. His soul force transformed into a sharp sword and pierced towards the crystal skeleton. However, it was quickly rebounded. The void trembled, and a sharp ripple burst out from the crystal skull, cutting the space apart. A deep trench appeared on the floor of Lin Xian's room. The entire room was cut in half. Lin Xian sucked in a breath of cold air as he stared at the crystal skull in his hand in shock. Don't waste your energy, kid. There is a powerful seal inside the crystal skeleton. You can't open it with your current strength, the Crimson Dragon said. Seal. Lin Xian frowned. If there is a seal, does that mean there is something inside the crystal skull? Indeed, it should be energy or inheritance. Energy? Inheritance? Lin Xian's eyes lit up. He liked the inheritance of a king the most. Just by looking at the blood sword inheritance, he knew how powerful it was. Is there a way to open it? Lin Xian asked. Yes, you can open it when you are strong enough, the Crimson Dragon said. Damn, is there a faster way? Lin Xian rolled his eyes. After arriving at the Exalt realm, every single advancement was extremely difficult, and it required great, fortuitous encounters. There are other ways. Since you are not strong enough, you can borrow external forces. External forces? You mean other people? Lin Xian frowned. He did not want others to know about this. You don't need other people. For example, lightning tribulations or something. You just need to be struck by lightning. The Crimson Dragon nodded. Lightning tribulations? Lin Xian's mouth twitched. Was this a common thing? He glared at the Crimson Dragon. He felt that the other party was deliberately teasing him. What method do you have? Tell me quickly. The mountain of flames you went to last time is not bad, the Crimson Dragon said slowly. According to my speculation, you only went to the periphery. With your current strength, you should be able to go deeper. When the time comes, you just need to attract the flames and break the seal. Okay, then I will try tomorrow. Lin Xian put away the crystal skull. He was extremely impatient and even a little impatient. After all, this was the head of a king tier, and what was sealed inside was definitely something good. The next morning, Lin Xian set off for the Mountain of Flames. The terrifying Mountain of Flames was still very spectacular. Before he even got close, the monstrous flames were already rushing towards him. However, Lin Xian was much stronger this time, so the flames on the periphery did not affect him much. Moreover, he had formed a second martial soul, the Ice Lotus. It was even easier for him to resist the flames. With a thought, a wisp of cold air surged in his body and immediately eliminated the heat. Soon, Lin Xian arrived at the mountain of flames. However, he did not stop. Instead, he flew all the way into the depths of the mountain of flames. According to the Crimson Dragon, he had only been to the periphery last time. This time he wanted to see where the real inner area was. Moreover, Lin Xian had asked others. The Mountain of Flames was a sacred cultivation ground of Senmu College. It was highly respected by Senmu College's disciples. Not only fire tribute martial artists, but other martial artists also liked to cultivate here. This was because the flames here could temper their spirit power and make it purer. It could even train their bodies and strengthen their blood. This kind of effect was what every martial artist yearned for even in their dreams. Lin Xian did not know this before, so he did not enter through the usual entrance. However, it was different this time. He had asked specifically, so he naturally would not go the wrong way. Soon, Lin Xian arrived at the place where he had stopped last time. He had originally felt that this place was extremely hot, but now he did not feel anything. As he walked further in, the temperature became even higher. Not long after, he saw a stone tablet. The stone tablet was completely red and covered with red-veined patterns. A wave of boiling heat was emitted from it. There were also a few large red words written on it. Mountain of Flames, 2nd level. Looking at the stone tablet, Lin Xian nodded. It seemed that this was the boundary between the 1st and 2nd levels. Lin Xian's figure flashed, and he entered the 2nd level. Indeed, the temperature of the 2nd level was much more terrifying than that of the 1st level. Even an ordinary 2nd level venerable would not be able to withstand the heat wave. However, Lin Xian did not feel anything. He used the power of ice, and his body was filled with an icy aura that blocked all the heat outside. With a step, his speed became even faster as he rushed towards the 3rd level. There was also a purplish-red stone tablet at the boundary between the 3rd and 2nd level. However, this stone tablet was much larger than the previous one. Moreover, there were many martial artists gathered in front of the stone tablet at this moment. Lin Xian was curious and quickly rushed over. He wanted to see what had attracted the attention of these people. Chapter 9:13. The people who were originally surrounding the stone tablet turned around when they heard the sound of something breaking through the air behind them. When they saw Lin Xian, they were obviously stunned for a moment. Then they forced a smile. "It's junior brother Lin." "Brother Lin, I've heard so much about you." The group smiled and greeted him. Although Lin Xian was a new student, his life and death battle with Yan Qingfeng had made him famous in the entire academy. Lin Xian was only at the 2nd heaven at that time, but he was able to kill Yan Qingfeng, who was at the 3rd heaven of the Venerable Realm. This was absolutely shocking. Moreover, Lin Xian's current ranking was not weak. He was a powerhouse who was ranked 30th on the Mystic Venerable leaderboard. Such a person would be fought over and respected wherever he went. "What are you looking at?" Lin Xian greeted them with a smile. Then he asked curiously. This was the boundary marker of the Blazing Mountain. Wherever there was a boundary marker, it meant that one could enter the next level. "I know that, but what do the names on it mean?" Lin Xian asked. He realized that this stone tablet was not only bigger than the previous one, but there was also more information on it. "Oh, the names on it are also a kind of ranking. It's similar to the Mystic Venerable leaderboard, but it's not a ranking of one's cultivation. It's a ranking of one's level in the Blazing Mountain." "I see." Lin Xian nodded. Then he looked carefully. The next moment, he saw many familiar names. Although this was a ranking of one's level in the Blazing Mountain, most of them were ranked according to the Mystic Venerable leaderboard. Dugu Outyen was ranked first. He had already reached the 8th level. Next was Li Yunfei, 7th level. Chi Hao, 6th level. Red Buddha, 6th level. Willow Lance, 6th level. Behind each name was a corresponding level in the blazing mountain. This ranking was a kind of strength and honor. It was a method used by the academy to stimulate the Senmu College disciples. Not only that, but Lin Xian also discovered something interesting. There were many unfamiliar names on it, but those names did not appear on the Mystic Venerable leaderboard. What did this mean? This meant that many powerful people did not appear on the Mystic Venerable leaderboard. It was not that they were not powerful, but they did not want to. This was a real low-key guy. Although there were great benefits to being listed on the mysterious sovereign leaderboard, such as being able to receive the support of powerful spiritual energy and gaining a great reputation, there were also many disadvantages. All the people on the list had been studied countless times. Cultivation techniques, secret manuals, strength. He was used to waiting before making his move. Most likely, everything had already been figured out by others. Although everyone had their own trump cards and secrets, most of them were still revealed. It should be known that not everyone was willing to reveal this information. At the very least, from these unfamiliar names, it could be seen that many powerful fellows did not want to be listed on the Mystic Sovereign leaderboard. As expected of Senmu College, there were many hidden talents. Lin Xian took a deep breath. He realized that he had underestimated the disciples of Senmu College. He had only paid attention to the mysterious, venerable leaderboard and had neglected the low-key, strong fighters. In addition to those unfamiliar names, there were two other names that caught Lin Xian's attention. One of them was naturally Dugu Outyen, who was ranked first. Only he had reached the 8th level of the Blazing Mountain. The other person was Li Yunfei, who was ranked second. Although he had not reached the 8th level, he had reached the 7th level. He was second only to Dugu Outyen and had left everyone else in the dust. Lin Xian paid special attention to these two people. However, the reason was different. He paid attention to Dugu Outyen because he had almost become a legend in the college. As for Li Yunfei, he paid attention to him because of the warning he had received the day before. Lin Xian was not someone who would be bullied. He would return the warning he had received the day before. I wonder how many levels I can reach. Lin Xian was suddenly interested in the Blazing Mountain. If it had been before, he would not have had much confidence. However, things were different now. His ice martial soul could greatly restrain the heat of the flames. He might be able to create a miracle. After waving to the others, Lin Xian's figure flashed, and he quickly entered the 3rd level. Very quickly, he entered the 4th level and then the 5th level. Lin Xian flew all the way without stopping. The 4th level required one to be at the 2nd level of the Venerable Realm, while the 5th level required one to be at the 3rd level of the Venerable Realm. However, this was not absolute. A 2nd level Venerables with heaven-defying strength like Lin Xian could naturally enter. Feeling the terrifying heat of the 5th level, Lin Xian took a deep breath. He knew that this was not his limit. Therefore, he looked deeper into the 6th level. In the Blazing Mountain, other than Dugu Outyen and Li Yunfei, the highest the others had reached was the 6th level. Lin Xian estimated that with his strength, he could definitely reach the 6th level. Therefore, he quickly set off for the 6th level. Boom! As soon as he entered the 6th level, a terrifying flame surged over. The flame was too terrifying. It carried an extremely terrifying power as if it wanted to burn everything. Ordinary 3rd level Venerables could not withstand it at all. They would probably be burned to ashes in an instant. As expected of the 6th level, it was extremely powerful. The neighbor exclaimed. At the same time, he did not stay idle. He waved his hand and shot out an icy power. A frost lotus blossomed in his hand, releasing a terrifying power of frost that collided with the oncoming flames. As ice and fire collided, sizzling sounds could be heard. White fog rose and covered the surroundings. Then the two dissipated at the same time and turned into spiritual energy. After dispersing the flame, Lin Xian looked around. This place was extremely terrifying. There were flames jumping everywhere. The sky was fiery red, and the clouds were completely formed by flames. The space was like a huge steamer, evaporating everything. Lin Xian estimated that only extremely powerful third heaven venerables would be able to stay here. For example, Bingling, Yi Yan, and the other's highest achievement was on the 6th level. Based on this information, Lin Xian knew that the 7th level would be even more terrifying. One had to know that Bingling was also an ice-based martial artist and had the ice bloodline. Even so, she could only stay on the 6th level. One could imagine how terrifying the 7th level would be. However, Lin Xian decided to give it a try. The Crimson Dragon had told him that the flames here were not strong enough to break the seal in the crystal skull. Lin Xian wanted to break the seal in the crystal skull. He wanted to enter the 7th level. That was a seal left behind by a king. He could not resist this temptation. Moreover, Lin Xian was confident in himself. Besides the Ice Lotus martial soul, he also had the Crimson Lotus armor. He believed that although the 7th level was terrifying, he could still enter it. Lin Xian took a deep breath and ran forward again. Soon, the boundary stone of the 7th level appeared in his field of vision. Many martial artists were sitting near the boundary stone. Those who could reach the 6th level were naturally not nobodies. They were all powerful people. Chapter 9:14. These people were strong, but they probably did not have the strength to reach the 7th level. However, they were sitting at the entrance of the 7th level, trying to adapt to the terrifying heat waves on the 7th level as soon as possible so that they could enter the 7th level one day. Lin Xian's arrival naturally attracted the attention of these people. After all, those who could come here were not weaklings. When they saw Lin Xian's face, they were stunned, but they quickly understood. Although Lin Xian's cultivation was only at level 2, his strength was stronger than most level 3 warriors. Therefore, it was not surprising that he could come here. Many people were even guessing how far Lin Xian could go. This was because the closer they were to the entrance of the 7th level, the more terrifying the temperature was. Therefore, the positions of these people were different. The one closest to the entrance of the 7th level was a warrior who was sitting 10 meters away. His name was Zhang Zhang. Although he was not on the dark honorable leaderboard, the fact that he could sit here was enough to show that his strength was absolutely terrifying. He probably surpassed Bingling and the others. The others were sitting 20, 30, 50 meters away. The furthest was 200 meters. These people estimated that with the strength that Lin Xian had displayed, he could at most reach 150 meters. He would not be able to go any further. However, to everyone's surprise, Lin Xian quickly reached 150 meters away, but he did not stop. Instead, he rushed forward at an extremely fast speed. What? How is that possible? Did this guy's strength increase again? Many people were shocked. Lin Xian's actions were beyond their expectations. It was obvious that they had underestimated him. It seems that this new student is not to be underestimated. Many people were slightly shocked. However, in the next moment, their expressions changed drastically as if they had seen a ghost. Lin Xian was very fast. In an instant, he had crossed 150 meters. 100 meters, 50 meters, 30 meters. He still did not stop. This shocked everyone. Even the top 30 on the dark honorable leaderboard could not withstand the heat. In the last 10 meters, Lin Xian did not slow down. Instead, he rushed forward at an even faster speed. What is this guy doing? Even Zhang Zhang's heart was beating wildly, and his expression changed drastically. One had to know that 10 meters was his limit. If he went any further, even he wouldn't be able to endure it. However, His opponent still wanted to charge forward. "He can't be thinking of entering the 7th floor, right?" Someone exclaimed. "From the looks of it, it's very likely." "Is he crazy? Apart from Li Yunfei and De Yin, no one else can enter the 7th floor." When everyone saw Lin Xian's actions, their hearts beat wildly. The other party actually wanted to enter the 7th floor. Wasn't this courting death? There were many geniuses in Senma College, but only 2 of them had been able to enter the 7th level. One could only imagine how terrifying the 7th level was. Although Lin Xian was strong, he wasn't that strong. Therefore, in the eyes of the crowd, Lin Xian's current actions were no different from courting death. He's too young. Does he really think he's invincible just because he defeated Yan Qingfeng? That's right. There are many people who can defeat Yan Qingfeng. However, I'm afraid that those people wouldn't dare to enter the 7th level. I guess it won't be long before he regrets it. The crowd shook their heads. None of them were optimistic about Lin Xian's chances. Lin Xian ignored those comments. With a low roar, the power of frost in his body surged and quickly covered his entire body, forming a blue ice armor. At the same time, his fist was also covered with a thick layer of frost. It was like a blue boxing glove, carrying with it a terrifying power of frost. Then he threw out a punch and smashed it in front of him. The power of frost. Who would have thought that he possessed such a powerful power of frost? No wonder he dared to try to enter the 7th level. Seeing this, someone exclaimed. Ice and fire countered each other. If a martial artist had a powerful power of frost in his body, he could naturally restrain fire. These people watched nervously. They didn't know how powerful Lin Xian's power of frost was. It's useless. The flames on the 7th level are very special. Even if you have the power of frost, you might not be able to enter. Zhang Jiang shook his head slightly. As far as he knew, Bingling also had the power of frost. In the end, she also failed to enter the 7th level. Therefore, in his opinion, Lin Xian was no exception. Just as these people were discussing, Lin Xian's fist had already landed on the intersection between the 7th and 6th level. Boom! Suddenly, an invisible wave vibrated. A translucent light screen appeared at the intersection, containing a terrifying amount of heat. When the light screen appeared, the nearby martial artists were frightened. Their faces turned pale, let alone entering the 7th level. Lin Xian naturally felt the terrifying heat. Without any hesitation, he quickly summoned his Ice Lotus martial soul. A blue ice lotus bloomed on his fist. It was crystal clear and chilling. Ice Lotus martial soul. Lin Xian shouted angrily. Then the blue ice lotus bloomed and hit the light screen in front of him. Suddenly, a scalp-numbing sound rang out. The translucent light screen fluctuated violently. Every wave emitted a terrifying amount of energy. Zhang Jiang and the rest stood up and quickly retreated. Their eyes were filled with shock. This power was too terrifying. They did not dare to take it head-on. However, their eyes were fixed in front of them. Seeing that the light screen did not crack, many people shook their heads. This was just as they had expected. Humph, I knew it. How could he break it open? Yes, although the 30th place on the mysterious sovereign list is powerful, it is not enough here. Does he really think that he is invincible? Many people sneered. Zhang Jiang also shook his head slightly. Indeed, although Lin Xian's power of frost was strong, it was not comparable to Bingling. Even Bingling could not enter. How could Lin Xian enter? Lin Xian was stunned when he saw that his Ice Lotus martial soul was actually unable to break through the translucent red light screen. However, in the next instant, a red aura quickly surged on his left hand and once again condensed into a fire lotus. The flame lotus also contained a shocking amount of heat. Fire attribute. Seeing this, everyone was shocked. They almost bit their tongues off. They had seen dual attribute martial artists before. Some even had 3 attributes. However, this was the first time they had seen dual attribute martial artists. It was hard for them to imagine how these 2 opposite attributes could safely merge into one person's body. In the next moment, under everyone's shocked gazes, Lin Xian merged the lotuses on his 2 palms. Then, a half-red and half-blue lotus appeared. An extremely strange power was emitted. Boom! Lin Xian's palms danced and hit the light screen in front of him again. Crack, crack, crack. The sound of glass shattering could be heard. A crack appeared on the translucent light screen in front of him, and it gradually grew bigger. What? It really broke open. How is this possible? Seeing this, everyone was shocked. They could not believe it. However, Lin Xian looked at the entrance and did not hesitate. He stomped his feet and entered like a sword radiance. Chapter 9:15. Bang! Bang! The terrifying flames were like the waves of the sea, covering the sky and the earth as they surged forward. The flames danced, and the ground trembled. The terrifying heat seemed to be burning the entire space. Lin Xian looked at the scene in front of him and was shocked. The horror of the 7th floor was beyond his imagination. Terrifying flames danced all over the place. Not only was there scorching energy, but there was also a strong pressure that made one feel uncomfortable. Other than the red flames, there was also a light blue flame that emitted a hazy light. The flame was even more terrifying. Even though Lin Xian had the ice spirit martial soul, he could not resist it. Furthermore, the terrain of this place was different from what he had imagined. There were huge stone pillars everywhere, standing there like a forest. What shocked Lin Xian was that the blue flame could easily burn a 3rd-rank honorable realm to death, but it did not burn the stone pillars. It was indeed the 7th floor. It was indeed strange. Lin Xian was shocked. At the same time, he used the red lotus armor shadow to cover his body. The 2 powerful defenses allowed him to stay on the 7th floor. At the same time, he understood why only the 2 of them could enter the 7th floor. The flames here were too terrifying. It would be difficult to resist them with just the power of ice. However, what made him happy was that although the flames here were terrifying, they met the requirements to break the seal. Lin Xian was pleasantly surprised. Then his body swayed and he flew forward like a shadow. Soon he arrived at the stone forest. With a tap of his foot, he landed on a stone pillar like a big bird and sat down cross-legged. Around him, blue flames danced. As he sat down, the blue flames increased and formed clusters of blue flames. They spun around him rapidly and warped the space. Lin Xian looked at the blue flames around him and took a deep breath. Then he circulated his spiritual energy and released a surge of power of ice. All of a sudden, the surrounding flames became restless. They danced with a whoosh, bringing with them terrifying flames. How could they allow the power of ice to exist in such a hot place? In the next moment, the blue flames danced wildly and rushed toward Lin Xian. Lin Xian's expression turned grave as he was surrounded by the violent energy. However, he did not block it and allowed the flames to jump towards him. Under this heat, the void became distorted. Countless balls of blue flames surged toward Lin Xian, instantly enveloping him. Pung, pung, pung. A low rumble was heard. This was the result of the blue flames colliding with the red lotus armor. Kid, if you want to use the heat to temper your body, remove the red lotus armor, the crimson dragon said. All right. Lin Xian gritted his teeth as a hint of madness appeared in his eyes. In the next moment, he withdrew the phantom of the red lotus armor and used his physical body to resist the blue flames. In an instant, he let out a blood-curdling scream. His entire body felt like it was about to split apart, and the pain was incomparable. Those blue flames looked small, only the size of a fist, but they contained a terrifying amount of heat, as if they were going to burn him. Lin Xian was so shocked that his small face became distorted. Originally, he was wearing the Phantom of the Red Lotus armor and could not sense the surrounding heat clearly. Now that he had withdrawn the Red Lotus armor, he could clearly feel the terrifying energy contained in the blue flames. However, since he dared to withdraw the Red Lotus armor, he was confident that he could resist these flames. Lin Xian gritted his teeth and quickly circulated the longevity incantation, unleashing its powerful recovery ability. As long as he did not die, the recovery ability of the longevity incantation would allow Lin Xian to stay here. Blue flames danced and covered the surface of his body. Many of them even burrowed into his body. Suddenly he felt a tearing pain, as if his body was going to be roasted into a mummy. Lin Xian gritted his teeth. His eyes were red as he forcefully endured the pain. This was because he realized that wherever the blue flames burned, the spiritual energy there became more condensed. There was even a strong and comfortable feeling coming from there. Seeing that the blue flames were tempering his body, Lin Xian was overjoyed. It felt as if he had eaten a natural treasure. What a powerful effect! Lin Xian felt the changes in his body and was instantly overjoyed. Although there was a tearing pain, it was nothing compared to the changes in his body. Ha ha ha, this feels great! Lin Xian looked up to the sky and laughed. His voice shook the surroundings. Then, a wave of frost energy surged from the top of his head and shot towards the sky. Come on, I can take it! Lin Xian roared. This provocation enraged the surrounding flames. Countless flames danced and roared as they charged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian took out the crystal skull and placed it in front of him, exposing it to the blue flames. Boom! Countless blue flames danced and charged towards the crystal skull. A low collision sound reverberated like muffled thunder. The crystal skull blossomed with multicolored light, forming a curtain of light that blocked all the flames. What a powerful seal! As expected of the king's skull. Seeing that the crystal skull was actually able to withstand the blue flames, Lin Xian was shocked. However, he continued to release waves of frost energy in all directions, attracting even more flames. I don't believe that I can't blast you away this time. Lin Xian gritted his teeth as a hint of madness appeared in his eyes. This method was crazy. If someone else was here, they would have wet their pants. Because the blue flames were not only attacking the crystal skull, but also Lin Xian. In other words, at the same time that the crystal skull was being attacked, Lin Xian was also being attacked by the blue flames. This was extremely dangerous. If he was not careful, he could be burned to ashes. Boom! 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 The entire space was being roasted, and there were even cracks in some places. One could imagine how terrifying the blue flames were. However, until now, the blue flames were still unable to blast open the 5-colored light screen formed by the crystal skull. However, it was not completely ineffective. At least, the 5-colored light screen was much dimmer than before. Lin Xian was extremely shocked. He did not expect the seal to be so powerful. However, at the same time, he was pleasantly surprised. With such a powerful seal, there must be something good inside. This made him even more determined to get his hands on it. The blue flames were very intelligent. Seeing that they could not blast open the 5-colored light screen after such a long time, they were incomparably furious. Countless flames gathered to form a blue spear that emitted flowing light. It ruthlessly pierced towards the crystal skull. The entire spear was sparkling and translucent. It was completely composed of flames and contained a terrifying amount of heat. It was like the spear of a demon god as it rapidly descended. A thunderous sound rang out, causing the entire stone forest to tremble. The 5-colored light screen suddenly bloomed with light, forming a huge force that sent the blue flames spear flying. Whoosh! Whoosh! The crystal skull's light shone even brighter as if it was enraged. In its 2 eye sockets, a 5-colored light condensed and pulsated. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.